Alrighty, well, welcome to this week's Tokwa Ask Us Anything. There's something happening in a couple of days. I'm not quite sure what that is.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going, goodbye.
I wish my hat did that.
All right, enough of that. It's too hot to wear one of those silly hats.
Okay, I'm back. Thank you.
It's been a big week this week. It kind of seems to always be a big week. First bit of news we got was that Elon Musk is set to be in Shanghai next month for Model Y deliveries, which is a good thing. Clearly, they're already getting a batch ready to be made for those first ceremonial deliveries. So that's got to bode well for all things Model Y. Now, something else that's sort of interesting, I mean, this sort of became a bit of a story, was basically confirmation that the Model Y's third row seats are going to be front facing. And that was sort of courtesy of some graphics that someone on the interwebs put up, which he saw on his screen briefly. And that was basically this. And that in itself isn't all that compelling, really, until some bright spark actually said that there's actually something a bit better than that. And that's actually Tesla's own website, where you can see here, it clearly shows the hinges at the back of the car for the third row seats, and the fact that the seat belts are plausibly going forwards. But really the killer are these two hinges here. Well, actually 4 hinges here and here and there. So basically that's confirmation that the 7-seat version of the Model Y, unlike what Sandy Munro thought, actually are facing forwards, which I guess.
And also on the launch day, the people that got out the very back row got out the back doors rather than out the tailgate.
Indeed. So that's sort of put pay to any speculation or continuing speculation that it's anything but forward facing. So that's exciting for some of those upcoming Model Y. I wouldn't say reservation holders, because we're not any of those yet, but any impending Model Y buyers who want 7 seats. Now, further to that, and it's more Model Y news, something that we all basically knew is that now Model Ys are basically being openly tested at Shanghai Gigafactory. So beforehand, they were sort of wrapped in that sort of fractal random pattern wrap that made it slightly more difficult to see what they were. And now they're basically, there's lots of drone shots of Model Ys openly being tested on the Gigafactory's secondary test track, which is basically just intended for Model Ys. So that's sort of good, I guess, because it basically means that they're really getting onto the start of production in earnest. And, you know, let's just hope that some of that production starts becoming right-hand drive. The next bit of news is of the 730 megawatts hour Moss Landing battery storage project is rapidly approaching completion. And we can actually see that on this great comparison image taken in December and October. So the Moss Landing project basically consists of 256 megapacks. And you can actually see these on the bottom image. They're actually in 40-foot sea containers, and they're actually in pairs. So I think I counted roughly about 190 odd already installed. So clearly that Moss Landing project is nearing completion, which is pretty good because that is a cool 730 megawatt hours of stationary storage. supporting, I can't remember if it's LA's or San Francisco's grid, basically, which is another feather in the cap for Tesla. In some other news, a lot of people had wanted and spoken about FSD subscriptions. And in a fairly recent tweet, Elon Musk has actually confirmed and said that he expects those subscriptions to become available next month or early next year, basically, which is a great thing for those who haven't invested the 10K up front to get FSD. There's no details on pricing or anything like that, but you know, that's a positive step forward for those that don't want to stump up the readies all at once. The next one, we're kind of going to wait for Pete to turn up. But one little piece of stock news was that Tesla did indeed join the S&P 500. It did so at the close of trading on Friday. And its actual joining price was $695 US. Basically, the stock went up about $50 odd on the close. And I think there was something like well in excess of 90 odd million shares traded. Actually, I think it was more than that in that 5-minute close period, which was sort of pretty exciting for keen Tesla stock observers. At the moment, the price has sort of reverted back to its mean, which is in the mid to lowish 600s. So, you know, I guess the good thing is that they basically, they're now, you know, a fair slice of fewer shares available to be openly traded, which obviously gets you more of a tension of, you know, the supply and demand balance. So that was sort of interesting.
It's 6:35 at the moment.
Is that the pre-open, Nigel? I think it must be.
Yes.
I think it must be. And then in some local news, which is a great achievement of this club in particular, is the final semi-permanent opening of the Tokwa Geraldton 50 kilowatt fast DC charger. It is now on PlugShare, and I'm just going to bring it up. And what it does is a wonderful thing to the to our map, because Tokwa now has deployed Western Australia's most distant and most northerly fast DC charger.
Well done, Harold. Thanks so much.
And so this is a great achievement of Tokwa. It's something that the club did, you know, as a united effort. And, you know, if you're looking across the eastern seaboard, once the map actually loads, because there's a lot of charges to load over there, we're finally starting to penetrate north. So as quite a few of us know that went to Kalbarri, it's a breeze on 50 kilowatt fast DC charging, particularly at John Edwards's Jurien Bay site, which is awesome, and now at Tokwa's site. So that is now officially up and running. It's with the kind commitment of Golden West Ice, who have kindly allowed us to put the charger on one of their sites, and also ChargeStar. Big shout out to them for actually donating the hosting background and the billing system, so that we can actually get some funds back to Golden West Ice for the electricity that will be used. So for those that are wanting to go north, just make sure you read the instructions on the PlugShare description. It is pretty simple. There is a padlock, so it's got a pin code of 9476. So that's just to secure the head of the plug to the charger, so it doesn't get swung around and damaged and all that sort of stuff. And then, yeah, just open up the NextCharge app. You don't need to have an account. You can just use a credit card, basically, you know, casually. And one bonus, I presume Google does the same, Google phones do the same thing. the Apple phones will actually keep your credit card detail, sort of that you can then just select it and just use it again. So that's all working. It was tested. It basically came online this morning and will now be available for the next many months, if not possibly longer. So obviously that opens up Kalbarri, opens up Monkey Mia, becomes a pretty easy drive with most cars from Geraldton, even if you have a slight top up at Billabong Roadhouse. And of course it opens up Carnarvon and Coral Bay, albeit with some longer topping up at Billabong and a couple other places. But yeah, so it's a great thing for a little club to do that. And it's something that, you know, certainly as community members, we're rapt to have this finally done. And I guess all we can really say is to the state government, hurry up and make us move it, because it'll be awesome to have it need to be moved because because Synergy puts one, you know, somewhere nearby. In which case we'll just move it further and further away, so it's always the last charger on the line. But yeah, once again, it's WA's most remote and most northerly fast DC charger. So that's most of the news that I'm aware of. Has anyone else got any other new developments? I think, oh, welcome Pete. Actually, Pete, you got perfect timing, because as soon as you set up, we're going to segue you into the deeper analysis of the S&P inclusion, particularly since Pete is the authorised representative of Tokwa Tesla share investing. I'm not sure if you caught that there, Pete.
I've only caught the last, something about an authorised representative.
Yes, yes, Pete is our authorised representative of Tokwa share investors. I guess we've got to note before Pete says anything that any advice that he gives is of a general nature, and any people listening to that advice should go and seek their own expert advice. But yes,
always do your own research.
And do your own research. JFGI, but I don't know what that means. So Pete, S&P 500, it was exciting. We got to $695 on the 5-minute close. I forget how many shares were traded in that close period, but it was well over 90 million, I think, off the top of my head. And it's now since obviously reversed.
There was way. So, sorry, you broke up.
Yeah, go on, Pete.
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, there was way more shares traded on the day than was required to meet just the index funds, obviously not the benchmarked funds. But yeah, it was all in all fairly successful, quite a bit of volatility as you would expect. But yeah, it all came down to that 5-minute period, didn't it?
Yeah, and I remember watching Rob Mauer live streaming it, and he was getting a little bit upset about there were some call options that were expiring that day, and their strike price was $5 just before the close, because it was I think the share price is about $250 odd. And of course, anyone that bought those were instantly going to make 10 times that money on the close.
So he was trying to exercise them, I think, wasn't he? Yeah. Yes,
he was on the phone he's ringing up a broker, which was kind of interesting, trying to exercise them.
Yeah, no, but it was a very, very. I stayed up the whole night. I think I went to bed about 6:30 in the morning, so it doesn't happen that often. But yeah, it was very exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Pete, sorry, you were just gone, but we also just went through some other bits of news, and one of the good ones was obviously the Geraldton 50 kilowatt DC charger up and running. So that's all good for any road trips north. And also something else is it's not just for Tesla owners. Anyone with a CCS car can use it, which is cool too. So, you know, all your iPaces and EQCs, you know, come up and use it.
Who knows?
So anyone, and I was going to say all 2 EQCs, but I won't be that mean. There might be 3 of them at least, and I shouldn't exaggerate.
Well, the first one didn't last very long, did it?
No.
No. And I think I've said this story before, but I actually met, I think it was a nephew in Coolin who was a gardener who knew the lady whose EQC got written off at 800 odd kilometres or 600 and something kilometres being used. So anyway, I think she got a new one. So that's a good bit of news there. So, you know.
Yeah, Merck found her another one. I think an ex-demonstrator that they had in over east. They trucked it over and got it to her. So there's that one still exists in WA. So it's all good. So basically, yeah. So the Charger is good for any car that kind of isn't Japanese, I guess.
Yes.
But I think they're the only CHAdeMO holdouts, aren't they? Is Nissan and Mitsubishi.
And I thought is not the new Leaf.
It is.
Yes.
It's still CHAdeMO, yeah.
It's still
Oh,
CHAdeMO, yeah.
But their announced new soft rotor that they announced earlier this year will be CCS. For export markets, as far as I understand it. So there'll still be CHAdeMO in Japan, but exported ones will have CCS, which is cool. It's becoming the standard.
And as it should be, and as it is in New Zealand, actually, it is the New Zealand government have mandated that as the fast DC charging standard, as well as Type 2 Manekas. The Australian government, not so much, but we'll get there.
Yes. Scotty from marketing can't make up his mind yet.
Well, actually, it's funny because at the Senate Select Committee report, inquiry into electric vehicles a couple of years ago, even Tesla themselves, which was before CCS came out in Model 3s, actually recommended that CCS2 becomes Australia's standard. So I think everyone is in fierce agreement. We just need to get the job done. Anyway, so yeah, apologies for the Leaf and some other EV owners that don't have CCS. We made a decision to sort of basically promote what is the natural standard. And it was also to save a little bit of dough, to be perfectly honest.
Save a bit of money as well, yeah.
Save a bit of money. But you know, if there's a Leaf owners club that wants to donate some money to buy a $1,500 lead to hook onto that charger, well, you know, send us an email and we'll think about it. But yes, do come and use it, one and all. Anyone else got any news? I think, Ken, you had a little interesting snippet I saw on the traps about Tesla's app being available not just on phones.
It's not so much a Tesla app snippet, but an interesting side effect. Hang on, I'll see if I can share my screen. An interesting side effect of Apple Silicon Macs is that you can run iPhone apps on them. So this is my development Mac, and this is the Tesla iPhone app, and it's live and running and real. You know, I can control my car from it, which is really handy when I'm at work because you know I can just have the Tesla app open in the corner, and you know if the car is getting a bit hot, I can just remotely turn on climate, and it just works. So it turns out you can run any iPhone app on a Apple Silicon Mac, but I was quite chuffed about that.
So you mean to say that while you're at work, you can be playing with your car all day and no one will know?
Pretty much. Yeah. I could smart summon it, but the problem is this computer is at Hampden Road and my car isn't. So it's a bit far away. But the weird thing is the car's just over there, but I'm controlling it from a computer that's you know at my office. But you know that. Yeah.
So could you not summon it from a long way away if you could somehow VPN to a local Mac and pretend that it's nearby or something?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you had a Mac that was near your computer, you could VPN to it, and but that's just getting silly anyway.
That would be naughty. Yes, that's right.
But it was kind of a cute thing. So if you bought yourself a new MacBook 13 or the new Mac Mini, which is what that computer basically is, you can run the Tesla iPhone app on it, which is kind of handy. So yeah, that's two funky computer things in a week, you know. So
Excellent.
So as I'm sure many of you know, both Harold and I have upgraded to MCU2 because you know we won't shut up about it. But it's kind of cool. And by the way, I have done the wheelie bin slalom. It doesn't paint them. It doesn't paint them any differently if you put them in the middle of the road.
I know.
And I may or may not have only hit one, so it's all okay.
So Elon, feature request, we need the correct color of the bin itself and the lid. That's critically important.
We need to know. That's right. We need to know before you run into it whether it's a recycling bin or a green waste bin, because the consequences are quite significant. It's up there. It's up there with my son's feature request for AutoSteer, that it should identify the brand of car in front of you, and it can anticipate behaviour based on the brand of car. So if it's a Honda, it's likely to brake unpredictably, and maybe that's a bridge too far.
Could it also pick which type of car to sacrifice itself into, being the cheaper one? Always go with the cheaper car, and maybe the lighter one.
No. Always get the Merc or the Beamer, or because it might have better design crumple zones to run into.
That'll be a softer landing.
Yeah.
Can I go back to a serious question on this charger issue? I saw a video today where Musk was saying that he might open the Tesla charger network, presumably in America, to other brands of car. Now, I've got a wall charger. Can that charge other brands of car that has the CCS or whatever it's called?
It depends.
The reason I ask this question is that on the box it says for Tesla vehicles only, and on the actual wall unit itself it has for Tesla vehicles only. I'm currently trying to charge one, and obviously it makes it more marketable.
You'll have to do that experiment, unfortunately, because it's not that easy to tell. I think Joseph Law was saying if it had a certain suffix, it would or wouldn't charge all type 2, well, actually all EVs for that matter, technically, with or without an adapter. So unfortunately, the simplest answer is you've got to do the experiment on, say, a Kona or some other type 2 EV, because it's not easy to tell. You could try and ring Tesla, but I don't know if they're going to tell you.
The official word from Tesla is that they haven't engineered the charger to not charge other cars, but neither have they engineered it to be compatible broadly. So it is a standards compliant type 2 AC charger, and so there's a pretty good chance it will charge other cars, but there certainly are examples where people have been unable to charge from a Tesla high power wall connector.
Yeah, Tesla have got they implement two different protocols. One is the standard J1772 type 2 protocol, but the other one is their LIN protocol, which is the way when they talk to a Tesla, if you have multiple wall units daisy chained together, it will actually determine what the state of charge is of each car and notionally balance them or charge them equally or in proportion, so they all get a maximum charge and get full in the quickest time, but evenly. So I think the newer versions of the HPWCs basically just use that private protocol, which means the other EVs they don't see it and they don't charge.
Yeah, but we haven't seen a type 2 version of the newest. Are you talking about the Wi-Fi one?
No. Even the current ones.
Yeah. The current generation of 3-phase.
They can choose. Yeah, they can choose to use let's, for lack of a better term, the pulse width modulated system, which is universal, or their private high-level communications, which is somewhat proprietary to Tesla. In which case, it won't be able. That HPWC won't be able to charge other cars. But yeah, David, unfortunately, the only way to really tell is just power it up and get someone to come over and try it.
Yeah, well, I don't really want to go down that. I can't. My home power supply isn't sufficient to run it.
Well, you don't need to. No, you can run it on 6 amps, David. So you could run it 6 amps, single phase is the minimum power, or the most power you need to prove it works. So 6 amps, single phase. So in extreme, and I don't recommend you do this, but if you had an electrician, wire it up to a 10 amp plug and you had the rotary switch set correctly to 6 amps or 7 or 8 or 10 amps, then you can just test it on a single phase system, because that's what the HPWC is intended to do. It's intended to be used in either single phase, 3 phase, and then a multitude of supplies going all the way down to 6 amps single phase in extreme, up to 32 amps 3 phase. So if you look at the instruction manual, the installation manual, it shows the settings for the rotary switch to set the appropriate power, bearing in mind that any circuit you use, according to the manual, also needs to be connected to an RCD for safety purposes. And that's in the instruction manual, which is available online, or you've got it in the box that you got the HPWC in.
Yeah, I think I'll just leave it in the box in the garage in case.
Yeah, and
it's
look,
just too for me.
On Tesla's shop, they sell them for $780. So there's the price signal for what it is worth.
There's another one advertised locally at 600. I put mine on at 580, but as I said, without knowing whether it would charge another Type 2 vehicle, it's well, I haven't had any phone calls, to be honest.
The good news is that, I don't know, maybe 90% of cars, EVs being sold in Western Australia are Teslas. So you've really got the lion's share of the market, or should I say the 90% of all cars will be able to use that charger.
Yeah, and as an added sales angle, current Teslas don't come with one anymore. So new purchasers don't get one for free. So someone who wants one will probably take it off your hands.
Okay, I'll keep it on
the other hand, David, so that will be a Gen 2 one that you have, and there's a Generation 3 one that is being sold in the US now. So when that comes to Australia, who knows? There is a benefit with yours, though, with the Gen 2 over the Gen 3, in that it will be able to charge at 22 kilowatts for the dual charger, the older Model X's, Model S's with the dual chargers, which the new generation won't be able to do. But what the new generation will have is it will have the ability to update its firmware via, so I think it actually uses the SIM card while it's charging in your Tesla. So,
Pete, all of the high power wall chargers can get software updated. They just use the car. So that's not unique to the 3rd gen.
Okay.
So second, my HPWC has had a software update pushed via my car. And that's part of the Tesla extended protocol. They can do that. But it does have Wi-Fi, so it has future features which aren't enabled yet that might enable it to talk to your power control in your house or other things like that. So.
Okay. So I was under the perception that the Gen 3 had much better connectivity. So
it's got Wi-Fi built in.
It's got Wi-Fi.
It doesn't need your car to be software updated. It can talk to the internet by itself. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the difference.
That's the key difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might work in with Auto Bidder, at least in a unidirectional mode, which is to take energy when it is advantageous to do so. So that's definitely a feature that Tesla are.
Well, and Tesla have already stated that it will be able to talk to Powerwall.
Yep.
So the Gen 3 charger can integrate with Powerwall and use the smarts in Powerwall to decide when to charge and that kind of stuff. So, but having said all that, there's no release date for the Gen 3 in any European or Australian, any Type 2 markets at this point. So I don't expect to see it anytime soon. So yeah.
One other difference is the cable is obviously a lot thinner, so which makes it easier to maneuver around. And I think it's short. I think the default is a shorter cable than the Gen 2, but there is an option for a longer cable as well, if I remember right. It was a while ago that I looked at it when it first came out.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
Okay.
David, feel free to basically sell it as quickly or slowly as you like. But there are buyers out there, particularly now that all the new cars do not have a free HPWC.
All right, that's interesting to know. And yeah, it's there if anyone wants to make me a decent offer. And thank you all very much for your help and that over the last year or so since I've had the car. Hope you all have a nice Christmas and hope to catch up with you next year.
Definitely, definitely. And, you know, go up to Geraldton, use the charger, be our guest,
Yeah.
you know.
That certainly makes the trip up to Kalbarri, which I was thinking of, much more attractive than it was before, where I would have probably had to stay in Geraldton and find somewhere to charge it.
Yes.
Okay, guys, I've got to go. Thank you very much indeed for your help.
No worries, David. Cheers. Thanks for coming.
See you, David.
See ya.
So, has anybody seen that idiot John Cadogan's latest YouTube? Tesla is dead. What an idiot.
He's always hated, you know, hybrids, EVs, anything to do with electricity in a car, basically. No, I haven't seen it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
No, he's actually got a Kona EV that he loves. He's been driving one. He's been driving it for about 6 months.
Yeah,
and he loves it. But he put out a video, I think it was yesterday, may have been today, this morning. And it was basically Tesla is dead because next year there's going to be so much competition in the EV market that they won't be able to compete. He's making the same mistake that all the short sellers are making. Tesla's a car company. They only make cars. Tesla doesn't only make cars.
And even then,
but Nigel,
you know, even then, if people like the CEO of Volkswagen are admitting that Tesla are 5 to 10 years in front, then, you know, the Tesla killer stories have been coming out since about 2013, and
exactly.
there hasn't been one yet.
Yeah, I know. Some of the comments underneath, I only listened to about the first quarter of it because I thought this is the biggest load of SHIT I've ever seen. And the comments were, yeah, we've been hearing about Tesla killers coming out next year for the last 8 years and they still haven't turned up.
There's a website called the Tesla Killer Cemetery, which has got a list which is, you know, fairly long now. But
and the other key thing about that, of course, is that it's more a case of it's not going to kill Tesla. It's going to kill all these cheap EVs. Aren't going to kill Tesla. They're going to kill, you know, every internal combustion engine car that's out there. You know, there's been so many surveys now, even in Australia, that you know, a vast majority of people have already stated that if available, their next car will be electric. So, you know, the MG's just hit the market, and, you know, it's, by all reports, it's a nice little piece of kit, and it'll probably be under 50 grand, and I think they'll sell a truckload of it.
It's 43,990 on the road.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, it's a showstopper. If you were going to buy a Camry, you know, why would you?
Yeah, it's the cheapest EV on the market in this country.
Yep. I think that's great. And more power to them. You know, it slightly bugs me as a classic car guy that they're using the MG brand, but, you know, only a little bit. You know.
Yeah, but it's Chinese owned by SAIC Motors, so.
Yeah, and they're not a tiny company. They're going to churn out gazillions of them. You know, and the Xpeng is starting to hit export markets now. I know I've said it wrong, but that's how it's like. Everyone says Hyundai wrong as well because it's not Hyundai.
Yeah, well, it's Xpeng, and they've got the G3 in Norway now, but it's got a CHAdeMO. It's got a CHAdeMO charger.
Isn't it?
Yeah, because it's the onboard charging infrastructure uses GBT. It has a limitation on the maximum number of amps by design it can take. So Bjorn's hypothesis was they put a CHAdeMO on because it was the easiest quick thing to do, because you can never put too many amps into it with a CHAdeMO. I'm sure once they start hitting their strides for export, they'll just stick a different DC charging infrastructure in it. They're not dumb, because that currently limits it to 50 kilowatt charging, which is, you know, stupid, you know, in the current environment.
What we could see now that Xpeng, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, I think it's somewhere between an E and an O. Yeah. Anyway, well, now that they're selling cars outside of China, there's speculation that Tesla may have another crack at them in the courts for autopilot and other copyright infringements.
It is some pretty solidly sincere flattery. You know, the UI and many things about it are pretty solidly.
Even the website.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was looking at Bjorn's review of it, I'm going, is that Tesla? No.
It's just flattery, you know, it's just imitation. They're not stealing anything. Although it's pretty clear there's something there, but anyway.
I guess we should
Proving
post that,
it's hard.
post that with allegedly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because Elon watches, he'll be, you know.
Yes. Make love, Elon, not war. Just, yes.
So and nobody's got the Christmas update on their software yet?
No.
No.
Is there a
Everybody
Christmas
goes and checks their phones.
update? I don't need to check my phone. I'm just going to go to my Mac and.
Oh, yes. No.
But you know what would be a really great Christmas present? Would be the ability to reserve a Model Y.
No.
And lock in
yes.
current FSD pricing.
Stop it.
With the 4680 battery.
Oh,
Yeah,
either
yeah.
that or even the LFP for the standard range.
I saw some guy on Twitter responding to Elon to that effect. You know, some ahead of the curve guy. You know, but I, you know, I'm with you.
So really, is that right? Someone.
I
Wow.
have checked today.
Watch out, Elon. He's very persistent.
Jeez. Speaking of persistent, there's guys there that are tweeting now every day and are saying, I'm going to keep on tweeting this every day until I get a response. Now, that's what I call persistent. Some guys have been going for a couple of months.
Yes, well, there was a guy that famously.
Yes.
No, not the yes. It was the waypoints that we're going to get in Santa's sack.
And Elon responded, is it that important to you, is it?
I think all of us responded to that tweet.
Yes. Because why wouldn't you want waypoints? Why?
And we still haven't got them.
No.
They do in the US, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? That's news.
Whereas,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
I just want this web page to change. I want this web page
order
to
now.
change.
Yes, not learn more, not stay updated.
Just hit refresh. No. Damn it!
Because hey, we can reserve a Cybertruck. Why can't we reserve a Y? Why not?
And we can we can lock in the FSD pricing on the Cybertruck,
Precisely.
but not on the Model Y. That's there's a financial implication to it.
Could we
Yes.
maybe swap a Cybertruck reservation for a Y order?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Who knows?
Who knows? Come on, Elon, you can do it.
But what do you think will be the full self-driving monthly fee? That's not going to be cheap. I reckon it's going to be a couple of $100 a month as a minimum.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Well, look, if you work it out, it's 10,000 US at the moment, and it's not even fully released. Now you divide that into, say, 60 months, you're looking at 200 a month. That's
Yeah.
American.
Just that then, yeah, you're right.
And
Couple
that's
hundred
12,000 over 5 years.
And surely it would have to be dearer than buying it, or the equivalent of buying it outright. Otherwise, everyone would just go to that model, subscription model. So yeah, maybe 250.
Yeah, well, if you work it over 5 years at current interest rates, 10,000, you're not going to be paying a huge amount of interest. So if you say, well, that's 12,000, that's 200 a month, basically, over 5 years, I think. Is my maths right? Yeah, 2,400.
divided by 60.
Yeah, 2,400 times 5.
166 a month.
Is that 12,000 though? 60
Oh, no,
months?
sorry, 10,000 divided by
Yeah.
60.
But if you take 12,000 because you got to pay some interest, then over 60 months, that's 200 a month.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
American.
Real money. And
And then
the
we-
funny thing, sorry,
Sorry, I was just going to say, we'll just whinge about it and get it cheaper, like we got the
$10 a month.
$9.99. Yes.
Yes. Full disclosure, Elon, that wasn't your best. You must have been tired when you agreed to that, because, yeah, that was a rookie error.
Shush.
We're Aussie dollars, not euros. It was a little bit different, but hey, it's a good deal, and we love you for it. Although Ken and I don't have to pay that at the moment, but we will on our Model Ys. Oh man. Anyway.
It's Christmas. Don't make me depressed again.
Uh,
I've got my
Otherwise-
Christmas present. I've got my MCU too. I drive intentionally down roads on bin day, just so that I can get hundreds of rendered bins.
And you drive past roadworks with the orange cones to look at.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I hunt down as many traffic lights as I can, so that I can stop. It's great.
And
I'm
I love
so
those
excited.
ones with arrows. You got the arrow, and the arrow's a different color, and it's not quite sure. It'll flash. It'll go
No,
red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Australian
it does
traffic lights are not the
not
same
pick up.
custom design.
It
And
does
so-
not pick up our traffic lights very well.
Yeah, that's right. But and I can sit and watch Netflix, and there has been the odd bit of karaoke, I've got to say.
Karaoke or karaoke?
I
Karaoke.
don't know how you pronounce that. Karaoke.
And don't forget, you're always a passenger. When you hit, I am a passenger. It's okay. I'm just a passenger.
Exactly.
So because you've got the vertical screen,
Yeah, it's terrible.
Netflix is stretched up, or is it in a
No,
box
it's
across?
letterbox.
We have
Letterboxed.
a very tall letterbox, but I don't care. I love it. I think it's the best $4,000 I've spent in quite a long time. And I know that
Really,
might sound
Elon,
a
that
bit
was a
stupid,
good
but
idea to do that.
well, it cost about the same as I'm near that bike, so it's fine.
You can't watch Netflix on that bike, Ken. Just a little pro tip.
Yeah. And the bike keeps me fitter than watching Netflix while eating chocolate sitting in the car supercharging, so.
So what? The what? What's that? The supercharger. Oh,
Yeah,
that
there's
supercharger.
one there.
That one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got one.
Right. Well, let's not use it too much because we wouldn't want to wear it out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, God.
well.
But
I,
speaking of random supercharger speculation, I drove past Main Street today, and there's quite a lot of branding on the building now. It's very exciting, so they're getting closer. But there's absolutely no sign of any public supercharging there, and I think that's pretty much been confirmed now. So we're still waiting for a site for the Perth supercharger, which who knows. But here's hoping we get at least a service center quite soon, and as soon as there is, we'll start running these from there. That'll be great.
It was, must admit, it was a little bit disappointing. I heard today that one of the Oracle founder who's on the Tesla board, he's got a Four Seasons hotel in a town in Fiji somewhere. The town's only got 3,400 people and only 30 miles of paved roads, but they got a supercharger.
Yes, that's right. I've been talking to the Tesla Owners Club in Hawaii. They're kind of a bit grumpy as well because they don't have any superchargers in the state of Hawaii yet, and that's a bit of a sore point, and they finally got a tip off that they were going to get their first one built, and then it all turned to grumpiness because it's not going to be on Big Island, or it's going to be on some little tiny island because someone's bankrolling it to basically be there. So they're all kind of going, so close, and yet so far. So we've been comparing notes between Perth and the state of Hawaii as to who's going to get one first, and we're still holding out.
And that's right, because they are actually, you can buy your own supercharger with money. You just stump up the cash and Tesla will sell you one.
Yeah, and there are effectively places in the eastern seaboard of Australia that have put superchargers in their private stuff, and that's been a bit of a sore point, but let's not talk about that.
What are they worth? Do you guys have any idea?
No idea. I don't know that you actually ever own them, but I think you enter into some agreement to have them on your property at, and you pay Tesla or you pay Tesla some fee, but I'm not certain of the commercial arrangements. I suspect they're probably different every time. But anyway, we digress. Still won the Perth one, 2017.
So yes,
still on the map. Yeah.
And for those that want to play at home, you just go archive.org. It's a great memory bank of the interwebs.
The Wayback Machine.
Yes, that's the one. Yep. AKA the Wayback Machine. But look, it's coming. Williams is coming. And that's going to be awesome to get to. Well, not so much to get to Albany, but to get back from Albany, because you'll be able to basically top up when you're a bit low, just to get that last squirt to go to Perth, which is the most efficient way to use them.
How many bays are they going to put in, Williams?
Don't know. The minimum would have to be 4, because Tesla traditionally want to have redundancy. Having said that, the site at somewhere in South Australia, it's near the loading dock of the Target supermarket near Keith. That's just a 2-stall sled. But traditionally they want at least 4 units, because you have 2 DC units and 2 stalls each. So that's a 4 stall setup, just in case one of the DC units goes offline.
Do you think we'll ever get something like GridServe in Braintree, Essex, in England? Have you not seen that?
Yeah. I'd love to see that. I was talking to you about that, Harold. That's the guy, a British private guy. He's basically set up a 36-bay charging place in Braintree, and he's got WH Smiths and a whole bunch of other chains on board to basically make it into like a motorway service.
He's got 350 kilowatt chargers down to 50 kilowatt chargers, and
superchargers there as well.
Yes.
And it's all powered from his own electricity. So basically they've got a massive solar farm some distance away, and then on site they've got some insane amount of batteries, some fraction of terawatt hours.
It's an amazing place.
In containers outside. So
it was 5 megawatt hours, I think they've got on site, just from fully charged video the other day.
Yeah, I can't remember the number, but it was in excess of 100 kilowatt hours, I think, of on-site storage.
Awesome.
And part of the business model is they're leasing EVs from inside the building, so you can kind of drive down and kind of have a look.
It's a genius idea.
Yeah, it is. But be interesting to see if and when it makes money. But I guess he's probably making most of the money out of buying and selling energy on and off the grid. And this is kind of a handy location to do all that stuff. But yeah, it's a nice business model. I think we'll eventually get that, but it's going to be a good 10, 15 years. Need a bit more density of EVs for it to make sense. I mean, even at the current density in southern England, I don't think it makes sense for them now. But I think they're taking a build it and come strategy, and and making money elsewhere. But it's good, and he's got a lot of publicity. A lot, and I think he said he wants to build 100 of them. So he does. More power to him, literally.
One in Perth would be nice. We send him an email.
Yes, and that doesn't mean Scotland or the one in British Columbia or whatever in the States.
Yeah.
Because it's still a tale of It still is a tale of 3 Perths. The one in Scotland, the one in the.
But ours is still in Washington on the website.
It is too. I know.
I just went and checked the. So yes, Keith is 4, as you pointed out. So that's about the smallest they ever build.
Yeah, Horsham. Sorry, actually Horsham, Ken. That's the one. Horsham to the right. Yep, that's a tour.
Oh, it's a twin. Okay.
That's
Is
actually,
that just a sled at the moment?
Yes,
or
it's just a sled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that's a real build. Whereas Keith is a true build, isn't it? Just
yes, it is. Keith is actually really clever. They've got 3 stalls that are the traditional back-in stalls, and then one that you can side park as a with a trailer.
And then we get this one.
Target opening 2020.
Yeah, that's right.
To go. A week to go.
And
if someone
if you look at the URL, I don't know if it's sharing my URL bar.
Perth, Washington supercharger. There you go.
Yeah.
Has anyone screenshotted all of the, the target opening in 2017, 18, 19, 20? Because I did try and go back on.
Somebody has done that, but I don't know whether it just makes that particular somebody more bitter and twisted, or
No.
I'm waiting for next week for it to say target opening in 2021, and I can add to my collection.
I wanted all of those screenshots so I could relentlessly pursue Elon again.
We actually sent that off a while ago.
Really?
Yeah, it does show Eton. Well, it shows Bunbury and Perth, and that was in September-ish, 2017. So, and that's in the Wayback Machine. You just got to put in that URL for charging on the road, and that's the earliest it goes back.
Yeah, I did try and do that actually, but it didn't seem to work. So.
Yeah. I'll get prepared for it and share it another time. But yeah, it's easy to do. The trick with archive.org is you've got to get the right URL, the actual URL.
I thought I did. I posted that exact thing in, but I obviously wasn't doing it right.
No. But the oldest capture, including Perth, was about September 2017. There was one in March, April 2017 that had the Bunbury one, or it was called Bunbury.
Oh, yeah.
But that became Eton. And then, because I think Eton was built in about November 2017. So we all got excited thinking, wow, they've done Eton, Perth's just around the corner. And yes, anyway. It's coming.
Eton was one of the first things on the Tocqueville website in October 2017.
And God, I did so many kilometers going backwards and forwards every few days just to see how it was going. And oh, wow, that was exciting times.
That's right. We have lots of pictures like this one from the website.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Take it from the multi-story car park across the road.
From the car park,
And that poor old contractor, that guy, all of us.
Oh yeah.
He got hammered. That actually, I've got.
Oh, come on. What have you got?
A jacket from Geograph Electrical. They are the.
Not only did you harass him, you stole his clothes.
The jacket.
Oh, they bought us lunch and all. It was really awesome. I got a beanie, jacket. Oh, lots of stuff. Lots of good swag. I think they were hoping to get more contracts, but I guess it dried up.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's not mention the war, but eventually it'll come. Speaking of which, Ken, have you got any good pics of the service centre? You mentioned it a few moments ago. Nice interior shots, because I actually got the desks, couches. The sales section is basically ready to go.
I haven't got any interiors, but I have a couple of exteriors. Because there's branding on all sides of the building now, and more importantly, the Renault Peugeot branding is gone.
Awesome.
Hang on, I'll see if I can find some photos, and I will share them. But yeah, suffice to say, it's now grey and red and white and has Tesla branding on the roller door on the laneway side where the service entry is, and also around on the showroom side on Main Street. So so it's getting very exciting, and yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, very probably, I would say early January we'll be there. I don't think service is moving that soon, but I think well, I mean, test drives are already basically happening from there as a meeting point, but no one's going inside yet.
I reckon as soon as the service place moves over, we'll all find something wrong with our car.
Well, we're definitely going to offer, you know, like a boot camp type services at Tesla's convenience to assist with new owners to orient with their cars, which will be really
well,
cool.
yeah, that's something we've been specifically as the official owners club been asked to
Yes.
help out with. So they just tested this week, and I was on the live stream for it with the guys in Silicon Valley, a kind of standardized sort of introductory slide deck, which they're trying to build. So we'll give some feedback. We'll obviously have to customize it a bit for international Teslas, but yeah, it's looking really nice. So we'll start participating in that. So that'll be great. And there may be a bit of delivery chaos in the next 7 days or so. What was I talking about? I was talking about, you know, end of quarter delivery is probably going to be exciting, but
yeah, it's going to be crazy.
So we don't know if that's going to happen out of the new building, but I'm pretty sure it's not at this point. They've still been using Government Road, and when I was there most recently, there was Tesla's park down the street at Government Road. It was amazing.
I was there today, and they had a stack of Model 3s in the actual building inside, and they were pulling them out Tetris sort of style to make room for my car to get fixed.
Yeah, they got all these funky new Model 3s with the new ones, which we saw we saw today.
Ken, you saw? Yeah, go and speak to that. That was pretty cool.
Oh well, yeah. I was just trying to dig up who that
Chrome
was.
Delete.
Yeah, so Chrome Delete and the new performance wheels, and you know, heat pump, and what else? Oh yeah, they have the new interior with the charger and the USB-C socket, and automatic
extra socket in the glove box.
And the socket in the glove box. That's right. So you can lock stuff in the glove box,
and new center console, so it slides in rather than opens up, a bit like the Model S. Yep.
So yeah, it's very cool. I really like the new wheels on the performance. They're kind of like little baby Uber turbines that are coming on the Y performance with the solid. They're not solid centers, but I mean they're still studs. But they've got a little wheel cover on there, and it's really cool. But yeah, so that was kind of nice to see. So we bumped into one of the first deliveries at UWA. Which is the other reason they're pining for the new one, is that because, you know, it arrived from Tesla with 40% charge, and you know, at the service center they've only got AC charging. So with all these cars coming in, you know, they desperately need superchargers at the new service center so they can stuff some energy into these cars before they give them to people. So he'd taken delivery of his new Model 3, and it was basically empty by the time he'd kind of done a few test drives. So he was lining up at UWA to DC charge it back up again.
It'd make sense for Tesla to have a non-customer facing supercharger set.
That's pretty much standard everywhere now. Yeah, they'll have superchargers inside that are not for public use, for the delivery center.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes total sense. And the cool thing when you look at the actual service center, or the new outlet, is you've got 2 parking bays for test drives.
Yes, on the laneway side. Yeah, near the roller door, there's 2 marked bays now with test drive bay. So that'll be cool. Yeah,
so prospective customers can just come in, park their cars there, their other kind of device cars or whatever, and then get lined up for a test drive, which is just going to be awesome.
It's almost like Perth is becoming a first class Tesla site, you know.
We're feeling the love, Elon. Finally,
it's all because Jason, relentlessly,
tweeted day in, day out. But you said yes.
You said yes. That's right.
I said, yes, what?
Yeah. I'm reasonably certain that Elon's got Jason blocked by now. But we love Jason. Get well, mate.
Oh yes, indeed. Yes. He's all good for those worried about this little neck thing, just fusion, just it's all good.
I had that done. I've had 3 fusions in my neck, thank you.
Yeah.
Right. I thought you just had a stiff upper lip, not just a whole stiff.
No. Okay, folks, nice to have met you. Goodbye.
It's good that we're all friends, isn't it? But anyway.
Well, some of us aren't.
Yeah.
Like that guy to my side here.
I'm in the.
Well, we're all in a different arrangement.
Yes, I'm in the middle as far as I'm concerned. So I'm just above Brian. I'm not sure if there's a metaphor there and Richard, who's been stalking us, is at the bottom. But
2 Richards.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Cooper.
Richard.
Welcome, RC.
Yeah.
They're both RC.
Oh, sorry.
My car was parked next to the RC Tesla, a week or so ago when I was in picking it up.
What? Sorry, I'm just picking up half of that conversation.
We were talking about you, not to you.
I was just stalking your car at the service centre. When I was in there, my car was parked next to your car. And
yes. So you've changed. Oh, yeah.
That was its MCU and Hardware 3 visit, but yes.
Yes, of course.
How long did the upgrade take?
Oh, it took him about 4 hours. It was really quick. So I think they've got quite good at popping the dashboard off, and it's basically both screens, and one of the screens has the MCU attached to the back of it. So the big screen, and there's a couple of wiring harness snap-ins from my era of car, and because I didn't skin the extra $750 for a radio, it was quite quick. Apparently, the radio adds an extra hour or so to the work, which is why it costs $750. But I decided when I next go to the drive-ins, I'll just bring my boombox and put it on the dashboard, and it'll be fine, because apart from that, I don't listen to the radio, and if I do, I use TuneIn anyway, because the quality is better, I reckon. But
yeah, that's right. I did order the radio, but they don't have stock.
My stomach out now.
Is that Richard? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I just muted him politely.
So it didn't take him long, and they backed up all of my stuff and restored it, and just so Harold can roll his eyes, because by the time they practiced on his, they had it worked out by the time they did mine. So all my driver profiles came across, and all the trip meters and stuff. So yeah, it was remarkably green.
Trip meters?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't checked in detail, but I think they came.
No, I lost mine. I had 156,000 Ks of trip meter.
Wow.
Unbroken, never reset since the car was born. Santa, Elon Santa, I just want my trip meters back for Christmas.
Yes.
All I want
anyway,
for Christmas is my 2 trip meters. No, it's all right. I'm over it.
So I take it, I think pretty much everyone's here is going to Gravity Discovery Centre, which is our next big thing, which will be really exciting.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to because my wife's in hospital then.
Oh, that's a bummer. Timing is always tricky, but yeah, I think that'll be a good gig. It's looking like being one of our biggest outings for a while, which would be nice.
Albeit that gravity is a myth and the Earth just sucks, but it'll still be interesting doing that experiment.
Yep, and you can see that the Earth is flat from there, and all the good stuff. Yeah,
looks flat as. But
has anyone been outside taking photos of Jupiter and Saturn?
I went out and I did see it. I saw it over several nights, actually. It was quite spectacular.
It has been pretty awesome.
The best view since I think, Nigel, you were just a young chap.
It's two.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
hey, he's going to get his someday. And in any case, I'm going to be around to watch the next one. So,
From Mars.
well, that's where I am.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's right. It'll be complete. So there's some interesting celestial mechanics. Is it a conjunction viewed from Mars at the moment or not?
No, it's not. No,
Yeah,
I had
that's
to
right.
use.
So it'll be at a different time when you're on Mars.
I had to use my security cameras at home to look at it.
And you didn't have to do it in the evening because time difference. Oh, whatever. Yeah.
That's anyway. But there'll be less light pollution on Mars. You'll get a better view, and they'll be a little bit closer.
Yes, they are a bit closer.
Great place. No, not much atmosphere.
Bit like the moon.
Oh
Yes,
God.
which the Chinese brought back their sample and are analysing it, which is pretty awesome. That was last week or so, roughly.
Yeah, it's been an amazing week for stuff like that. Yeah, so the Japanese guys brought back their meteor/asteroid sample that landed in Australia, and the Chinese mission to recover a lunar sample, I think, was successful as well. And
that didn't land here, though, did it, in Australia?
No.
No, because we should have confiscated it and kept it.
And SpaceX made a crater exactly where they wanted to, and that was really impressive. I like that. But and SN9 was on trucks today, rolling out to the launch pad. So
it's been lifted onto the launch pad. Yep.
It wasn't leaning either.
With a couple of donor flaps on it that they bolted off something else and bolted onto it. So apparently it's all it got over its stagger, and it's back to do another thing,
which is going to be spectacular again, isn't it? It doesn't matter what they do next; it's just going to be just a specky or
no. And I had my favorite SpaceX. I love it when SpaceX land back on land again. So that most recent launch, that never ever gets old. That that whole, just come back down to the Florida coast and just stick it back on that bit of bitumen. I don't think I'll ever get tired of watching that.
It's just magic, isn't it? It's literally just, yeah. I'm sure if Wernher von Braun was alive, he would have just gone, well, that's as good as it gets. There is nothing better. Oh dear. Cool. So any other news or any other bits and snippets around the place? Obviously, we're all going to be busy on Friday, which is a good thing. Doing the rally bash and all that stuff.
Just going back to the Christmas update, we might not get it till Boxing Day because it will be Christmas Day in America and it'll be Boxing Day here.
Come on, Elon.
Just realised that. Yeah, come on, Elon.
Do it in UTC.
Yeah.
Come on. No. Sorry, not UTC. Do New Zealand first and then us and, whatever. Go that way.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
But how do you push
out? That's how the Tesla Powerwall was released. New Zealand got it first.
Right.
Yeah, that's the Powerwall 1. Yeah, that's how. So, yeah, that was one of our claims to fame, that we were one of the first, my previous employer, one of the first in the world to have it available for sale.
Awesome. Well, come on, Elon. Just make it happen. I mean, imagine putting out a 500 megabyte rollout to 500,000 cars. No, it's more than that. Million cars. Well, roughly.
Well, yeah.
I guess, because even the AP1 cars will get some part of version 11, at least for the UI and all that sort of stuff.
It's not as hard as you think, but you know. But
no, because if you got an iPhone, they do it to hundreds of millions of devices.
I wonder if the last 4812.1 actually has got it there, and it will suddenly appear. It's already out. We've already got it. Yeah, I know.
That switch, just go flick, and
yeah, it'll just go. Oh, it's December the 25th. Happy Christmas, folks. Here it is.
So what's in it?
Is there a new center mode? Because apparently, apparently the original center mode was a lot better than the current one.
It was because all the other cars were reindeers or something.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
And now they're not, which is disappointing.
No. Yes.
Come on, Elon, up your game. You know.
Yeah, what sort of a show you're running here?
Yeah,
we want our reindeers back. And
he's not the electric Jesus, according to John Cadogan.
Yes, we want our reindeers back. You know, really.
It'll be something fantastically Elon, like directable fart noises, and some nod to Cyberpunk 2077, or who knows what it'll be. It'll just be.
So Gene did something with ours the other day where you turn the indicator on to turn, and it's like it's ringing sleigh bells or something.
Yes, yep. It does that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The current Santa one.
So I was looking to try and how to turn it off, but it just stopped after a while. It must be timed out or something. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a bit like that annoying cowbell and the Rainbow Road. Oh, that gives me the.
The Rainbow Road is the best thing, I got
But you can't stop it. The only way you can stop it, because you try and change the audio, it doesn't work. You've got to.
It doesn't respond to volume either.
No. You've got to just go into the toy box and hit something else. Like
toy box, is that what I should have been looking at? Right.
Yeah.
But grandkids loved it though. My grandkids loved it.
I've just found what someone can buy me for Christmas. So there's a inventory Perth Model S long range available now, demo model.
Ooh.
Yeah, beautiful too.
Right now.
Good price.
Is it a used inventory?
New inventory. It's a demo.
It's a new X demo one, I think.
Model S long range, pearl white, black interior.
I wonder if that's another clue that we're getting a refresh.
Could be.
Pete, there's nothing more certain than a refresh of the S and X. Nothing more certain.
The X as well, you think?
Yes.
The question is, so no doubt, a landscape instead of a portrait screen is a, lay down Mazare, but wonder if there'll be any exterior changes.
I think so.
It's not a new, Harold. There's a new X as well in Perth.
So I'm just looking at used, and there's no.
It's a demo. It's a demo. So go to new. Yeah.
And on that one on the right is in Perth.
Oh, it does say Perth too. Yeah, wow.
And there's a Model X in Perth as well that I noticed before. A white long range.
Wow! Look at that price.
No, it's plus. No, it's all plus
X taxes and charges. So you have to click buy now before you get the full number.
Perth, there you go, black one.
There's a black one.
Actually, that one is. I saw that out the front of the service centre today. Hasn't got number plates. If that's the same one.
Well, the pictures are renders, but yes, it'll be the same one.
So I'd say that someone has probably cancelled.
Yeah, a black long range plus and a white long range in Perth.
But yeah, so getting back to you, Pete, I have zero doubt that there'll be profound changes. So what's obvious is they're going to ditch the removable battery pack, because the S's and X's have literally, you undo half a dozen fixings and the battery pack just unplugs. And Elon did that.
And they're still in.
Sorry?
Still in 3 or 4 modules, aren't they?
No, they're in 12 modules or
Okay.
thereabouts.
But it's a single structural pack that they're having to engineer into the car. So you can actually remove the battery out, and it's structurally by itself, and the car is structural without the battery installed.
You can drive the car without a battery if you had.
It's a bit like NIO in China, where they can just remove the battery and replace it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, it was. I think the story is it was designed around a directive in California way back in 2010, 2011 that they had to have swappable batteries as some design thing, and they did demonstrate it. Although Elon subsequently, I think, admitted that he never wanted to do it, and as soon as they didn't have to do it anymore, they stopped doing it on the excuse that customers didn't like it. But yeah, so the X and S need to get rid of that and go back to just integrated battery pack, and like the 3 and
4680 structural battery.
4680s would be great, but we don't have stock of those yet. But they could certainly engineer it with the what's the 3 got? 2470s.
2170s.
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 Yeah, so I'm thinking they're going to delete the fact that the pack can actually be removed easily. So it'd be more like a Model 3 where it's a lot more difficult to do. It's
and new battery technology, they can get the charging a bit higher, all of the other things that they need, so they've already got the efficiency, they've got the 400-mile range, they just need the faster charging, so it makes sense to switch to a new battery technology, and they could do a cheapie, but they won't, I don't think, on the Model S with LFP batteries.
No, it's NCA all the way. But they're also probably, how the Plaid Model S at Nürburgring earlier this year, or was it late last year? There's probably going to be some other structural...
It's just that this year's been about 2 years long, so it feels...
Yes, exactly. So, they're probably going to have some minor panel changes as well. And of course, the interior will be dramatically different. I mean, Ken, what do you reckon? They're going to keep the binnacle to keep that note of distinction? Perhaps? Yeah,
I would assume they would keep something, but they'll almost certainly switch the screen to horizontal. And they'll almost certainly change the air delivery to the same as the 3 and the Y with the there's no flaps. The question is whether they'll switch to the Model 3 style steering wheel with only 2 controls, and rather than the Merc supplied ones which they're buying at the moment. So they'll certainly want to get rid of those.
Yes, totally makes sense. And the CCS, and they'll have the CCS charge.
Yeah, they should be able to make the charge port big enough, obviously, to accommodate CCS, which is the big problem with the current S and X charge port, is it's too small.
Yes. So we reckon that they're going to go 4680 for the S's and the X's, though, because and the reason I would love them to do that, but Elon said that the Y is going to be the first vehicle that gets them. So unless they're already doing them, which I doubt, I can't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean the Plaid has to have 4680s to work,
which would, and so that would make me think that they would be getting the 4680s, because why would you build 2 different production lines? And the X needs them because you look at the range of a new X now compared to a new S, and it's like, come on,
on the website I'm looking at says 503 kilometers, Richard. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what does the S say?
So what can the S charge at? Because it's only got a Type 2 plug, isn't it? It hasn't got CCS.
Aren't they now?
The S can take CCS2 up to about 150-ish.
I thought it matched the 3s now at 250.
No, even current S packs are still older technology packs.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, I thought the same as Richard.
Keep going, Pete. I'm just scrolling forward on the battery pack swap.
Oh yeah, it's where he did it faster than fueling up a car.
Yes, I don't know if you can hear this, but
this was. I must admit, this was pretty cool.
I stand corrected. The newer S's get over 200 kilowatts, but they're still not as fast as 3s.
No, true. Yeah, that's right.
So yes, sorry, my mistake. But yeah, my understanding was they were still limited somewhat with the current battery pack design.
Well, I thought they got up to 250, so I'm wrong as well.
Yeah, but yeah, so they'll definitely want to refresh the battery design in the SNX to get faster throughput. What's this video?
Oh, it's how long it takes to swap out the battery.
Oh, yeah, this is the original.
Of course. Yeah, this is where he showed that he could do it faster, a lot faster actually, than filling up a car.
Pumping fuel, yes.
Yeah.
So the pack's going up there now.
There it goes.
I thought it was about a minute, or under a minute. So obviously I got that wrong.
I love this bit where the car hunches down its suspension. They take the pack out and the car goes, wait.
Oh.
Look at the old UI, the old.
No, I remember that
dash.
UI.
I didn't know it takes this long to fill a car up with petrol. It's terrible.
Clearly haven't owned an Audi. They have very big tank, and
there you go, 137. Not even 133. Sorry. And then just for fun, they do it all over again.
I have to endlessly fill my ute on site with diesel.
That's right. That's right. They do too in the time that it takes to fill up the car.
Yep. They get a second one.
So since we've got some extra time, let's do another one.
Showmanship. They should throw a glass ball at the window as well.
What could possibly go wrong, Ken?
I still remain convinced that was utterly intended all along.
Really? You think so?
Yeah.
With the look on his face, he just like the wind was taken out of his sails. But
no, I think that was staged.
Yeah. You reckon?
Well, from the people that were in the crowds, all the YouTubers that were in the crowd said there's no way that was staged. You could just feel, he was just absolutely, you could just feel his disappointment.
The oxygen.
To me, he just looked like he couldn't get off the stage quick enough.
Yeah, the oxygen just sucked out of the room, and everyone was sort of quietly shitting themselves, going, "Oh wow, that was not supposed to happen." You're right, Richard. Like Elon just looked like he just wanted to just walk out and go, well, let's just not bother anymore, because he was breezing through all the rest of the stuff. It was like, oh yeah, it does this, it does that.
But in 2020 hindsight, it got more publicity for the Cybertruck than just about.
Well, it did, but I'm not sure they wanted that particular type of publicity. Hey, look, could well be, but
yeah.
But has he not done us a favour, because it's going to stop all these people getting steel balls thrown at our Cybertrucks just to see how tough the glass is?
I don't think it is. I think now that we're going to get a whole spate of people throwing stuff at Cybertruck windows because of it. So,
well, they'll be on camera.
Well, no, they will, but yeah.
Actually, that's speaking as a new owner of a car that has Sentry. I've got to say it's a bit of a blessing. The second day I had Sentry, someone smacked their door really hard into my car.
Oh, really?
And I've got it all on video. And now I go, yeah, but now I have to decide if I want to do anything about it, which of course I'm not.
Yeah, sure.
What are you going to do? It's like, someone Christmas shopping, but now
they didn't damage your car though.
Yeah, oh yeah, I've got a very small paint chip out my passenger's door with lovely Toyota Camry white paint in it.
Get them.
Yes, I found another one on my door the other day.
Yeah. And you go, I didn't want to know. Ignorance was bliss before, you know. It was.
Hey guys, speaking of which, this is a little bit related. I found out in Joondalup shopping centre there was a ice hole parked icing a car, and apparently what they do now is they get the council to infringe them. So
Good.
I didn't actually know that was something that you could do, or but yeah, apparently that's what happens.
It's
now.
a law and finable offence over in, I think it was Victoria, where if you park an ice car in an electric bay, you can get done. But if you park an electric car in an electric bay and not charge, you can get done.
Good.
It's not over here though.
Yeah, in Western Australia, it's per council bylaw. So each council has different wording. But yeah, I'd heard that too, Pete. I think that's a Joondalup, isn't it? Or
Yeah, Joondalup. So I was walking off and I was shaking my head and I was taking a photo, and guy stopped me and said they'll get a ticket for that. And I said, oh, really? I didn't think it was. And he said, no. So, yeah, he wasn't an EV owner himself, but he's very interested in getting a car. But I didn't take his word for it. I went and asked at the counter, and they said, yeah. So, yeah.
Yes, so
that's good.
Bylaws the rangers do fine parking in EV space, but it's not the same in every council. Different councils.
And I think you have to actually, the shopping centre manager has to register those bays with the council to be subject to those bylaws, because technically it's private land, with the exception of the disabled bays, of course, because they've got their own classification. But that's a really positive step, Pete.
Yeah,
I
thought so.
I think I must go and check with my local councils, because at Mandurah Forum, there's only type 1 plugs. There's 2 of them, but they're frequently got ice holes there.
Yeah. I mean, I can.
It's called that.
Yeah. But I can think of at least a dozen situations just at Joondalup. So over the last couple of years. So
yeah, and where I live in Baldivis, the Stockland shopping centre there, it's only that idiot Rob who's disappeared now who parks in my spot. Well, and Joe and Seb, but I let them.
Oh God,
Joe and Seb, who will be watching us on playback.
No, they're fine. They're fine. They can park there. They only take it between 4 and 5 on a Thursday afternoon during school time.
Oh, that'll be Christmas Eve, so it'll be quite fraught then. So big shout out to Joe and Seb, who'll be watching us later, and to Damon, of course. And to Damon, of course, who'll be watching us in half-hour segments. This is probably the 3rd segment you're watching there, Damon.
And Elon. Thank you, Elon.
Yes.
Elon alternates between live and recorded, it just depends. He lurks.
Hey, he was watching our show last week because we mentioned Bitcoin, and what happens this week? Exactly. So there's your proof.
I refuse to admit that we are the oracles, but sometimes the truth is the truth. Talk about punching above our weight. But it's all good. But yeah, so Bitcoin, that's a really weird thing, isn't it? That it's because was it that if as soon as someone calls himself Elon Musk or mentions Bitcoin, Twitter just boots them off instantly because there's so many scammers around Bitcoin and Elon Musk. But I mean, there are serious companies now actually looking at
not just looking, they've done
it, but investing in Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, there's a whole stack, well, not a whole stack, but there's a good half a dozen, reasonably sized companies that have put their cash reserves or a portion of their cash reserves into Bitcoin. So the guy that was tweeting at Elon, he's got over $1 billion worth of his company's funds in Bitcoin. So
just a quickie, something that missed me, and I must admit I didn't bother to Google it, was what is fiat?
So fiat is just money that's not backed by gold. So it's not. It doesn't have any
acronym, or is
intrinsic value.
Is it an acronym for something or an abbreviation?
No. It's
Latin.
adjective. Yeah.
Right.
Is it what?
It's Latin.
It's Latin.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a little car, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah.
It's an acronym for Fix It Again, Tony. But right. So it's not backed by gold. So it's modern money, really.
It's
because the gold standard
Fugazi.
70s.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's only got value because someone else thinks it's got value, basically.
And we're all riding on the same promise, and we're all just kicking the can down the road.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is true or not. I've got to look it up, but I did read somewhere that the average currency lifespan is only about 50 to 100 years, and the US dollar's over 100, and Aussie dollars 80, 70 years, something like that. So the theory is that we're way overdue, and most of the currencies collapse all in the same way, which is too much of the stuff gets printed towards the end, and that causes all sorts of problems, not just hyperinflation, but people lose trust, trust in the currency. So,
yeah, that's dead right. And of course, the currency no longer is pegged to blocks of gold, whereas in the olden days it used to be.
Yep.
So now you just create it on a computer
you don't even print it anymore. You just literally put zeros on a computer screen. Yeah.
Well, I think our Reserve Bank governor actually said that notionally you could just effectively print it, and you'd never have to pay it back, even though Australia actually is, for reasons best known to themselves. I don't know why we're choosing to do that, but he basically said, well, you could just keep sourcing more money and just creating it out of thin air, and it would sort of be okay because everything just moves along. But,
but surely that devalues our dollar.
Only if we do it at a faster rate than everyone else. But if everyone else is doing it at the same rate, then on average,
it doesn't sound sustainable to me.
So we should all print our own money.
That's
Harold's already printed about, what is it, 0.4 of a Bitcoin, did you say?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I've actually got, and I don't mind admitting this on YouTube because Elon's got more money than I have. So I think I've got 0.58 of a Bitcoin that I mined all by my little self.
Well, no, so you said Elon's got more money. He doesn't. He's only got a quarter of a Bitcoin. You've got 0.58. So
okay, I'll tell you what, Elon. Now we do a deal right here, right now. It's going to last for the next 30 seconds. I'll give you all my Bitcoin, and we'll do swapsies. If you swap, and I'll give you all my Tesla shares if you swap me for yours. Done deal. Next 30 seconds. Yes or no?
How can you turn that down?
Yes, I actually. When I swap phones, and this is a tip for people using wallets on phone apps, your phone does not keep your wallet intact. It destroys it because it's in its secure enclave. Oof. So I had to put in the 12 phrases, which they sort of tell you must not write it down, you must not keep a record of it, blah, blah. But I thankfully did write it down and took a photo of it and then re-entered it. And then, of course, my app took about 4 or 5 hours to re-synchronize with the Bitcoins. And yeah, I had 0.58 of a Bitcoin.
So slightly less than the amount of electricity it cost you to mine it.
Yes. Yes.
It's about 30 grand at the moment, Bitcoin to Australia, and so you know, that would have been, your power bill would have been more than 15 to mine half a Bitcoin.
And I can tell you now that I have pulled out $2,000 plus power bills, and which I've been told by Synergy means I was that close from being a contestable load. Apparently, once you are a contestable load, you're always
you're contestable forever. Yeah.
And you were on the Vice Squad's list.
So to those employees of the ATO, I can assure you that yes, I've got money from Bitcoin, but there's no profit. I'll do you a deal. I won't declare the Bitcoin if you don't like. We'll just call it quits, because trust me, I'll be getting a tax refund. Unless Bitcoin goes to 100K per coin, and we'll talk about that later.
Only a matter of time, possibly.
That's right.
Possibly, yeah. Because
your pizza.
I don't know if it's a fault of Bitcoin, but one limitation is there's a limit to the number that can be created ever.
21 million.
Right, and there's a limit to how much they can be divided. Is it 100 millionth, or is it a?
Oh yeah, I think that's right. 100 millionth. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a notion.
Is it 9 digits or?
I'm not sure.
It's a really stupid idea.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is because they have to perform work, because you've got to have distributed computing, and it's got to be hard to be able to. You can't. They never wanted any bad actor to cobble together a fairly basic set of computers to effectively hack the system. So you had to do a lot of work, and it had to require a lot of effort. And in this case, effort equates to energy. And no matter how efficient you make the processors or the application-specific ICs, it's always going to take a lot of energy. And of course, is that a good thing to do or not? You know, and I don't know, Ken, can they change it so that it requires less energy, or is that kind of
you could move to a proof of stake rather than proof of work, and there's other proofs out there, but I don't. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to fork, wouldn't you, Ken?
Look, I'm not enough of an expert but yeah, I mean, the reality is in current silicon, you're right. I mean, it's you know, if quantum computing happens anytime soon, then lots of things are in deep trouble, including encryption that we use, and
absolutely,
Bitcoin will be in deep trouble. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But yes.
So perhaps Elon should invest his lazy 20 billion, to which he rightly asked the question, can you do like big transactions? Like, is that even possible?
Well, my understanding was a lot easier and quicker than through the traditional monetary system that we have.
No, it's actually, what was that saying that in Visa they can do 100 million transactions a day? And
but it's not the number of transactions. So you can do it within one transaction, but it could be a high value transaction.
Yes.
So,
yeah, and I think that was a point well made by Rob Maurer, who also watches us as well. So shout out to Rob. Love your work. Love your work, actually. And we're learning from you every day.
Was that a recent episode, Harold?
Yes, he did mention that there was that debate about it is true that Visa processes more transactions, but the actual value of the transactions is almost on par when you compare it.
I know the point I was making is that if you did 20 billion or whatever that amount is, you would do that as a single transaction. So you wouldn't put more stress on the network because it's still one transaction. The value doesn't necessarily.
Yes, I know what I mean is that the argument is made against Bitcoin as a comparison. They say that the Visa card system processes 100 million transactions per day.
Oh, it's a lot faster, yeah.
Yeah, but when you compare it to the dollar value being transacted, the potential dollar value, and energy cost and all that sort of thing, apparently Bitcoin doesn't come out so badly.
But Bitcoin, they're working on this Lightning network, which is a off-the-chain settlement system, which is supposed to make it a lot more efficient and quicker.
Yes, yeah, indeed. I mean, the other thing was, apart from doing effort, you could just expend a bit of money. So if as you process the transaction, you actually put up a fraction of a cent or something, that would also be a big disincentive to people trying to hack the system, because you're actually putting money in.
That's the problem that Ethereum has, because you pay gas to transact, and they say it's unfair because someone can offer more gas to prioritize their transaction, and what that does is that then drives up the gas fees, during the transaction fees during busy periods.
That sounds like an Uber model to me. Strangely so. Oh, speaking of Uber and other things, one thing we hadn't mentioned, which I was going to say is it's not really an elephant in the room, and to be honest, it's probably not that relevant, was the discussion around the Apple Car.
Yes.
Been resurrected. Yeah. There were a couple of times before we were talking around that subject, and I thought, oh, we should.
Yeah, me too. But
yeah. So the Apple Car. Again, Rob Mao, I love your work. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, which Rob's already done.
And subscribe to Patreon.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, that's right. Because if you subscribe to Patreon, we'll promise to take the ads off and we'll demonetize the channel, because we've got thousands of subscribers.
At some point, we're going to get someone come on this Ask Us Anything session and say, I can't find the Patreon channel. What are you doing? Where is this Patreon channel?
Send them to me. I'll help them out.
Look, we're so loaded, we can't, well, I don't even know the bank account number. It's like, it's too full anyway. Sorry, you just can't contribute. But so the Apple Car. One thing I thought was really interesting that came out about the discussion around the Apple Car was Elon Musk saying he actually reached out to Tim Cook in the depths of the Model 3 production ramp hell, and I think basically offered his company to be bought out by Apple
at a tenth of today's valuation, which would have been about double the valuation of the share, but which is fair value. If you're buying 100% of a company, you usually pay about that. So it wasn't it wasn't a bargain, but it wasn't in retrospect it was a bargain, but at the time would have been fairly fair. But yeah, Tim Cook wouldn't even take the meeting. Incredible.
Which is incredible, because you always listen to someone pitching a deal. Yeah. But I guess he was so resolute in not being interested. And I do dare say that perhaps some people at Apple might be thinking that maybe Tim should have answered that call.
Oh yeah.
There was an opportunity.
Do we think that this Apple Car is going to be real?
Well, it's been real since 2014, and as has been the Apple TV set. But apparently Tesla only had about 4 weeks of working capital left when Elon approached Tim Cook. So, I mean, that isn't the first time. So during the GFC,
Sergey
apparently it was
it?
Yeah, from Google. Yeah.
Yep.
So it was, literally only hours away, and it wasn't until apparently Elon had a choice. He had enough money to save one, but then the other, so save SpaceX, but then Tesla would die, or vice versa, or he could divide his money, in which case both could survive or both could die. But yeah, incredible. But was it until he put all his money on the line that the other investors came to the party? And was it 70 million or something that they raised?
You mean during the model
GFC?
test? Yes, because he basically got, I think according to Ashley Vance's book, he got every spare employee to get on the phones to try and convert reservations to orders.
Yeah,
Desperately trying to get more cash. And I wouldn't say miraculously, but thankfully the orders started coming in, and that basically saved the company. So anyone on the floor even were on the phones trying to drum up orders, and they did come.
Yeah.
And and you know, he was so badly burnt with what was a precursor to PayPal?
X.com.
X.com. Yeah.
You know, where he basically got burnt.
Yeah.
And he sort of promised never to sell anything ever again. Sell the interest to the company ever again.
He still owns the domain name. X.com.
He does.
Yeah.
And come on, Elon, you've said that you're going to do something interesting with it, because you know there's a actually Ken's gone, but there's an interesting, and I don't know if it's sad or whatever however you want to describe it, but there was one individual who actually had the rights to most of the single letter domains, like the ABCDs, whatever. He's got the vast majority of them, and in his will, he actually stated that he didn't want them to ever be commercialized. But X.com was one of the exceptions that Elon Musk had.
Yeah, right.
And that was supposed to be a three-way platform for Tesla, SpaceX, something else. But yeah, nothing came of it, or nothing has sort of come of it yet. I think if you go to X.com, it's just a placeholder.
Yeah.
But in fact, it's got nothing. X.com.
It's got an X in the corner, and that's it.
It's just got an X. Yeah, just in that little corner there. But who knows? One day. But yeah, so all those other single letter domains, most of them have tied up to be never commercialized in perpetuity.
Why is that? What was the reasoning behind that? You know?
The guy that actually owned the rights to them, he was one of the early top level domain managers. For some reason, he registered them to himself and resolved to not make them available to anyone to commercialize. Maybe because he thought they were special or something. And he died. I don't think he died that old, but in his will, he specifically stated that those things would not be able to be commercialized by whoever it was or what entity inherited his estate.
That's strange.
So there you go.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I mean.
But yeah, so getting back to what we're talking about, which was, Pete?
Was it Bitcoin? No, Apple Car. Apple Car. So, you know, as Rob Mauer, again, love your work, rightly said, the biggest issue with Apple is that even though they're bigger or as big as Tesla will become, they are strictly not vertically integrated. They do all the design work in California, or notionally in California, but subcontract out their all their manufacturing. Whereas Tesla, you know, Elon Musk's stated goal is not to make the best products in the world, but to be the best manufacturer in the world. And he is completely and profoundly vertically integrated his car company and every other company he's involved with. And Apple don't do that. So if Apple made a car, all they would do is they can't get Foxconn because they've got no experience in making cars. But you know, there's talk that they might
merge with some other car company, an existing car company or something like that. But as it's been well pointed out, they won't be able to compete with Tesla because Tesla are miles in front. I mean, they're miles in front of every car company really, but what can Apple bring to the party? You know, they talk about new technology batteries, but they're LFPs, and you know,
and no pouches, etc., which is basically, you know, battery day. One good point that Rob had was that the one advantage that Apple had over Tesla was its size and its cash reserves. Yes. And over the last year, that's evaporated. Well, it's still there, but no, obviously, you know, with Tesla up 20-fold in the last 18 months or so, it's it's no longer much of an advantage.
Yes, that's right, because Tesla can raise $5 billion with minuscule
under 40, less than 1% dilution in under 48 hours.
Yes, yeah, and as you rightly said before, Pete, Apple was talking about an Apple TV, as in a glass TV, and that just never happened.
Yeah, they missed the whole boat on that, and it seems like they're missing the whole boat on the Apple car as well. It will be some sort of a diluted version. It'll probably be, you know, they might have some software that they'll license out to some legacy automakers or something.
Yep. Or is it going to be $1 million ornament?
No.
You know, some super duper car that's unobtainable to all but the highest echelon of owners,
like the Rimac.
Yes, or you know,
Koenigsegg.
Koenigsegg, yeah.
But the Rimac's an electric.
So is Koenigsegg.
Have they got an electric version?
Yes, they've gone electric. Yes, with their special gearbox. No, they are. They are converting to electric because they understand physics and they know that you can jam out so much more power out of a electric motor than anything else. But yes, maybe that's what the Apple car is going to be. Who knows? I mean that story really came about through a Reuters article that simply quoted inside sources, but what does that really mean?
Project Titan.
Yes. Titan's a long way from here. It's further than Mars. Actually, Nigel, you might just be able to see it if you squint. I can't hear you because we have vacuum in between us. We have
no, it's radio waves. No, it's just over there. I can see it. Look.
Oh dear.
If I can just interrupt there for a moment, if that's okay.
Yeah, Pete, of course.
Behind me is a 1992 Serbian $10 billion note. It's fiat currency. Okay, so all you need to do is put 10 of those in your wallet. Elon just needs 10 of those in his wallet, and he's got 100. Well, he's got 100 billion there, so he can sort of carry that around. It's smaller than Bitcoin probably. So you don't want small change. So this is from a hyperinflationary era. I've got the note, and that's a photograph of the actual note. I just rummaged around and couldn't find it. It's so easy to misplace $10 billion, but or 10 billion, whatever the currency is. But but Tesla is featured on many of the Serbian banknotes. I think 1 in 8. I looked at the ones that he's on, and it's about about 1 in 8 of the things.
So you never spent it, Peter?
Sorry?
You never spent it?
No, it's one of those things you sort of frame, and sort of don't bother about.
What could you have bought?
You could have just put another wheelbarrow to put it in.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, whatever you wanted to buy in the morning, if you got stuck in traffic and got there in the afternoon, you'd have to drive back and get another wheelbarrow.
Yeah. And I've got the other side, but this is the one. This is the side with Tesla on it. So it's on my website, a new website that no one's ever seen. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's a more older version of Tesla. Or
it was 1992. Yeah. So no, not he wasn't like that in 1992. But yeah.
No, sorry, I mean when he was older. That's a more senior.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, and the other photo I had, which I'll try and sort of get up, just to, well, I was sort of, sorry, I will try and get it and explain it. This is actually a Tesla meter. Yeah, so it's a meter that I've got. It measures a magnetic field, and that's 0.788 of a Tesla, I think. It's just a little demonstration I did for showing that magnetic fields can be concentrated by being pyramidal.
Hang on, is that 0.7 over Tesla?
Yeah,
that's a lot of magnetic field, just quietly.
Yeah, but about a normal magnet, you just tested a single one of these magnets, then the field is a bit sort of dispersed up the top, and so you don't you only get about 500, so 0.5 of a Tesla. But if you actually make a cylindrical magnet, then you get more. If you do a Halbach array, which they've got in the motors, their reluctance motor, I think, then you get more. I've got a picture of the Halbach array somewhere that I've done. But interestingly, Halbach arrays are in every sort of fridge magnet. And if you look at the magnetic film, it's all straight lines, and this is the Halbach array setup. So if you put a fridge magnet back to the front, it won't stick to the fridge. It's not just straight.
And if you put them front to front, and you move them, they notch, because they actually sort of notch as they go past each other.
So you can see that very clearly on it. I was just showing my son today, actually, just really fortuitously. Yeah, about these sort of, you can see the field quite nicely on with a viewing film.
And incidentally, I believe that Halbach arrays were actually invented at the CSIRO, I believe.
I don't know.
I think that's true, and I'm going to claim it as true, but I'm quite certain I recall that it was actually at the CSIRO when they were first looking into that. And of course, like many things done at the CSIRO, the rest of the world sort of got that information and went and ran with it. You know, a la Wi-Fi and many other technologies that have been taken up to great effect, with almost no attribution going back the other way.
Yeah. I don't know.
So that's, yeah, I'm certain, because I did hear it being discussed a short time ago. I think it might have been an interview with Sandy Munro, and because he's being involved with that tricycle thing, that company doing the three-wheeled EV, and the guy around, I think it might have been the CEO or founder of that company, was actually describing the Halbach array. And yeah, he basically
was an Akimoto that you were
yes, and he actually said that was the Commonwealth. I think he mispronounced it. It wasn't. Well, yeah, as we know, it's the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organisation, but I think he said something else rather than organisation. He said something else starting with letter O, whatever that was, and misspoke. But yeah.
I'm just looking at Wikipedia now. A principle first invented by James Whitney, who's a private high-end audio loudspeaker manufacturer in Minnesota, 1970. The effect was also discovered by Mallinson, who was a British physicist, and the there was another one who independently invented the Halbach array in the 1980s at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. So no actual mention of CSIRO there.
That's cool. We'll have to do some further research, and that's right, Pete. I'll just edit that bit out and just pretend that I was right. But
it's a bit silly then. It's all right.
But no, I think there was some development, probably more to do with motors than just theoretical applications. But he did do a shout out to CSIRO, apparently. Well, he did. So
they may have done. Yeah. I mean, ANU was involved with some incredible stuff like homopolar generators, and they generated 2 megaamps. Which will sort of get your car going fast.
Yes,
so 2
absolutely.
megaamps. They just had this big huge spinning aluminium disc of the magnets, and then they just let fly into into parallel things to make a railgun.
Yes, yes, that's right. Yes, yeah.
I've made a railgun, and a core gun, and all that sort of stuff too. So, yeah, anyway, so it's just, I was just going to do a CSIRO search on that, but I can't. It's a bit hard with Wikipedia.
Can I just jump in? I've got to head off in a second.
I said
go, Brian. Yeah, sure, go.
So I missed the start, so I assume there was a bit of discussion about the Geraldton Charger, Harold?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Well done. Yeah, congratulations.
So, yeah, it was a great achievement of the club.
Okay. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's up and live. The cool thing is we can keep an eye on it to make sure what its status is, even to the point of seeing what the temperature is, which is kind of interesting. And I can report now that it's actually sitting at a cool, that says 54 degrees. Maybe that's out of date. Hopefully it's not at 54.
It's not on fire, is it?
No, let's hope
Fahrenheit or centigrade?
This is true for Elon. Well, Elon knows that we all talk in centigrade or Kelvin. Sorry, degrees centigrade or Kelvin. It actually says 54. That's interesting.
Okay.
Now
I've got you worried.
No, that's okay because it's just warm on the inside. But no, it's alive. Yes, telemetry. 3 minutes ago, it last spoke to its server. So,
we'll have to do another run to Kalbarri, won't we? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm thinking about doing a run to maybe Monkey Mia.
Yeah.
Which just needs a little bit of plug share work, probably at Billabong Roadhouse, just to do a top up. I'll just bring that up just for interest. We'll just flick over to the screen. So Monkey Mia is obviously about there. And if we just go on plugs and do, I know Billabong actually has a Tesla. I think that's Billabong there. So Billabong's a great place to stop. There's a HPWC and a 3-phase outlet, but obviously as Tesla owners, we can use the HPWC. And it's been tested as recently as today.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. From Geraldton to Monkey Mia is
250.
No, it's a bit further than that. Monkey Mia, it's 431. So obviously if you spend probably a couple of hours at Billabong, yeah, that'll get you to basically, Actually, Monkey Mia is, you got to go 3-phase, which is the RAC Monkey Mia Resort. So pro tip for anyone going there, you need to borrow the 3-phase adapter. Actually, now we've got a multitude of those. And yes, at Monkey Mia, there's a 3-phase outlet. Well, there might be 2 of them actually, near their loading dock, to the side of the resort. But yeah, so basically Tokwa's charger now opens up Monkey Mia as a pretty easy trip. So you could easily do that in a day.
Yep.
With perhaps, look, if you slow down a bit, if you did 90 k's an hour, you'd probably make most of it and only have to charge perhaps for an hour at Billabong. And obviously, if you want to press a bit further north, you can get to Carnarvon pretty easily. Actually, Carnarvon, you could probably do Carnarvon in a day as well, and then overnight at Carnarvon. And once you're at Carnarvon, where you can easily get to Coral Bay or Exmouth, relatively easily.
Oh, well, it's opened up a lot of options. So yeah, we're gonna have to.
Yeah. Well, it's and the great thing of that is when you reduce the plugs just to CCS2, you can really see how far we've stretched. So Perth is in the centre there, and we've basically doubled the distance going north. And it is WA's most distant charger at 414 k's. I think Lake Grace is about 300 odd, which you've been to yourself, Brian, on the way to Esperance.
We did.
So, and actually, incidentally, we're talking about Kalbarri a moment ago. Kalbarri is actually on the state government's map.
As it should be. Yeah.
As it should be, which is this little spur just here.
Yep.
So, so that's awesome. So, we've basically made Kalbarri super easy, and Coral Bay, Monkey Mia, quite easy. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, and it's live now. You can literally go on it. PlugShare's got all the instructions, and you just use the NextCharge app. And fear not, you don't need an account with NextCharge. You can just pay casually using a credit card. So that works perfectly. So
sounds good.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right. And the only other thing, Harold, before I go, the spare wheel for the 3.
Yes, I didn't get the other one back yet, but I've got the old-fashioned Aero and whatever. So just
we're taking off on the 27th, so I didn't want to hassle you over Christmas or anything.
Yeah, so we can do it on
tomorrow. Busy day. That's all right. Well, Sunday morning. So that hang on. What's the 27th?
Just hang on 2 seconds.
You swap the.
Yeah, Brian. So we'll sort that out in the next couple of days.
Okay. Thanks,
welcome,
Harold.
Carmen and Peter Harris. So, Carmen, we were sort of in the bit that I just snipped out rudely, talking about some tyres, and you were asking. Sorry, what was that you were asking about?
If you guys recommend rotating of the tyres, and if so, when?
I'm not sure.
Every 10,000 k's, I think.
You can do front to backs, because the Model 3s have the width of the rims are the same front to back, whereas, for instance, in the Model X's they're different. So that's obviously you can't do that. That's a very good question, Carmen.
10,000 kilometres front to back, back to front, not sideways.
That's right.
Yes. So with my Model 3, I've done front to back. I did it at about 12.5, 13,000 k's, just front to back.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yep. And I've in fact got 2 different brand tyres on the front versus the back. So you've got Continentals in addition to the Michelins. But to answer, so I'm not sure if you asked that question, but I remember, so if you go into your Model 3 screen, and if you go into manual, I think is the option down the bottom, and then you can actually search in the manual. If you search maintenance, it will tell you how often Tesla recommends that you check your tyres at least, and I think it's every 12 months from memory, or every 2 years, maybe one or the other.
Oh, good. Well, I'm sure once they have the showroom, they'll need extra probably remind us.
Sorry, Cohen, just breaking up there a little bit. Say that again. We couldn't hear you then.
I thought that as soon as they've got the new showroom coming up, they will probably have a maintenance section who will remind new owners every 12 months or so. Extra income earning.
Well, I think normal service centers actually have their own wheel alignment machines. So hopefully Perth will do the same. So yeah, I think as far as tyre maintenance and other general maintenance, they might be more proactive. Although Tesla now is famously inactive on things like servicing. So they don't do any scheduled servicing. They just react to what the car needs. Yes. But obviously all cars universally need tyres and wheel alignments. Yeah. So hopefully they will do that in-house, because I believe most other service centres do.
But I wouldn't rely on Tesla reminding you or calling you, because that's not their policy. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so just diarise that. I mean, it's going to take a while to get up 10,000 Ks, but then again, depends where you go.
A few more trips to Albany.
Yes. Or you can go to Kalbarri, Carmen, because we've opened up that 50 kilowatt DC charger in Geraldton. So it makes it really easy to go now. So
and you'll be an expert now with all your experiences.
Yes, well, I wouldn't call it experience, but
it is experience.
Yes,
No,
more prepared. I will chat with you guys before I go anywhere. You'll be the first to know.
Well, actually, one good thing, since you're mentioning chatting, is it looks like we will be going to the new service centre regularly to do like boot camps and introductions for new owners, where new owners can come to the service centre after hours, and then we will be there ready to give them any advice on anything at all.
That's marvellous.
So that's something that we're committed to do as a club, and it looks like that's coming into fruition. So that'll be awesome.
Did you get my email up with the reply from Dave Kelly?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I did with great interest. I mean, it was quite a polite letter.
Yes.
What was that? What was said?
I sent you a copy, Pete.
Sorry, was that?
Oh no, wrong. No, so that was who?
So it's Richard. Yeah.
Richard.
No,
Richard.
I
Sorry.
just wondered what was said, Colin.
That was the Honourable MLA Minister Dave Kelly. I had sent him a letter of my experience and suggested the government may wish to do something about the non-existent electric highway, and he replied. I can send it to you.
Yes, if you could, that'd be great.
Yeah, send me your email.
Didn't you already have it for the Rev Project report? But yeah, look, I'll send it. Yeah,
It could be.
Got your email, I'll send it again.
I've got Peters. I've got Peterson Harold's.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll forward that to you, Richard.
Yes. Just be very interested.
Yes. Yeah.
And he wrote a little personal note, which was nice, to say that he drives one himself.
Yeah, it does. He drives a Ionic.
Ionic? But it's the hybrid though, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
Oh, really? In that case, I need to pick him up on that. It's not a real electric car.
It's not. And I think he regrets it.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I'll suggest he gets a Tesla.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Of course.
Oh, and Carmen, just a bit of news. Earlier we were discussing that we saw the first new versions of Model 3s. We've got the heat pump, the chrome delete. So if you don't like chrome, the new versions have zero chrome. And a slight refresh of the interior storage console.
Upgrade already coming.
I like chrome. In
Cool.
fact, I like the old chrome bumper bars.
Yes, that's in the days when they used to be bumper bars.
Yes,
and now they're just
not the plastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's good. So you won't bemoan the fact that there's a not so shiny new car.
But are they 10,000 cheaper? I'm more interested in.
Well, I think they're 73,500 for the S.
10,000 cheaper than I paid, so I want something for that.
But Carmen, they don't come with the wall charger.
Yeah, but that's only 1,800.
No,
780.
780. Oh, there you go. That's fine. That's still a lot of money in between.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true.
Okay.
And that's
who can make a decision? Elon Musk, I suppose.
Elon watches this program all the time. He might not be watching live because he might be busy, but he will be watching us later. A big shout out to Elon. Thanks for watching. Love your work.
I have tweeted to him that we need some extra assistance in WA, but no reply as yet.
Actually, you might have a reply in kind because they are employing more people. So they are getting more personnel to man the new service centre, delivery centre, sales centre. So there are more people being employed, which is a good thing. And that way, once that sales centre opens, there'll be so many people coming in to see cars, and it's going to be good for all of us.
Oh, yes.
More and more Teslas on the road.
I need the shares to drop first, and then we can go up. My stockbroker won't buy until they drop.
Well, they are down to 635 at the moment.
I know.
Yeah, they're 10%. They're on a 10% off sale at the moment.
Yeah, he thinks it'll be another 2 weeks before we can buy.
Right, or never, perhaps.
Or never, yes.
No, he's determined.
I'm going to say cheerio now. My airlock needs sorting out. So it's Happy Christmas from Mars.
Have a good Christmas night.
And I'll go and fix my airlock. So
have a good one.
Excellent.
Thanks, guys. See you
all right,
next
Nigel.
week.
See you next week. Take care.
Nigel.
If I can just say something, I took my car to the service guy that I took him for a test drive early. He was really thrilled about it. He actually sold me my Commodore, Holden Commodore ice car, which 17 years, and this is my car that preceded my current my Model 3. Anyway, so he said, look, you're bring it over sometime. We'll put it up in the hoist so you can have a look at it. And there's a couple of interesting things. One is that there's a big hole in the front sort of flat pan where my wife sort of ran over a curb. It's the first thing. I don't think it's critical. I think it's just we sort of probably, I don't know, maybe have to replace it at some stage. The first thing. The second, they're all gobsmacked when he drove it onto the hoist, lifted it up, and I drove it off, with Summon. Again, they're pretty gobsmacked. The car reversing off the off the hoist. So, and I also had a chance to then go into the council car park nearby and play with the Smart Summon, which is quite interesting. There's a learner driver or two also goes there occasionally, and so I just sort of I think I think not quite sure if they actually saw it as driverless at the time. So
Peter, I had a lady come up to me today and she said, please tell me that your car can drive by itself. And I said, yes, it can. And as soon as I said that, she just said, oh, a weight has lifted off my shoulders. And I said, why? What's happened? She said, I thought I was going crazy. So I was in the car park and yeah, I was just trying to get it to go back. So I remembered to use the feature that it has, and yeah, because there was a car parked right up near me. So yeah, I just pulled it out and then I put it back in because I remembered I had to go back to the shops for something I forgot. And yeah, she'd come up to me and tell me your car can drive. Anyway, sorry.
I think you need a cardboard cutout of a dog, really, is what you...
I put the real dog behind the steering wheel.
Our dogs are so badly behaved, and their dogs are... Yeah, anyway.
You're a medico, Peter. Put a skeleton in there.
Well, yeah, I used to have a half skeleton with a full skull and a half skeleton. And I sold it for $50 about, 100 years ago. And I sort of regretted it ever since because, body parts are sort of, a bit of a fascination. So. Real skeletons. So, yeah. I think they come from India or something. Not quite sure. maybe China. I don't know. But yeah, I think it was India at the time. So.
Yeah, and that would have been a real one too.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
Is there any chance of? There was some talk some months ago about having a trip down to Bunbury to have a look at all your scientific wizardry.
Yeah, look, I've got to get. I just had a lot of, I've had deaths in the family, and I've had my mother in a nursing home. And I had to close down my surgery and stop my practice, and a whole range of things that took time. Now they're all sort of starting to quieten down, not fully yet. And then I've got to get some enthusiasm, which has been sadly lacking for the last 2 years. And then I've got to get enough energy to be able to sort of repair a whole lot of equipment that died at the last TV show. So when I do that, it is a sort of a long-term aim to I don't know how long, to actually resurrect my some stuff that's good enough to show. It's a good trip, just down to Bunbury, Perth and back one charge, or for me anyway.
Eaton's there.
Sorry?
Eaton's good.
Yeah, and you basically stop at Eaton, 6 superchargers, so you can all charge. It doesn't matter how many cars you bring down. And I'm only sort of like 10 k's away from that, 20 k's or something. And you can stay wherever you like in Bunbury. You can camp out in the backyard. We got some rooms and people can use. So it's actually it'll actually work out quite nicely, and for up to 20 people, that sort of thing, quite easily, or more if you. I say when I had open days, it's really sort of exhausting, but I'm nowhere near as well as I was then. So, but I had 70 people. So it's to look at the displays of various things, but I'm just not that. But yeah, a lot of interesting sort of Tesla type stuff. A lot of little stuff. Like the thing behind me is, I do a lot of magnetic stuff and lasers and just oddities. Sort of. Some of which is Tesla related. Really, I'm a sort of a physics type person. Just happened to be a failed physicist and went into medicine. So yeah, sadly. But anyway, yeah. So look, I do. I want to try and do that. One thing that did happen is that I stored my big Tesla coil. I haven't got a picture immediately. My big Tesla coil was stored in my carport, and my wife sort of could park her car there. But the only charging spot that was convenient was in the carport. So I had to dismantle my big Tesla coil to put my Tesla car in that spot. I've got pictures there. I'll put them up sometime just to show them.
That's a travesty. You can't.
Yeah,
the coil is always more important than the car. Trust me.
Well, yeah, it's been sitting here for years, sort of gathering spiders and dust and But anyway, it's my plan. But I have to repair a lot of equipment. So much stuff died, and and that's just to get things started. So, and also, Yeah, I can't do it in winter. So it's I can't do outdoor things in winter. So it would have to be done in winter. Sorry, in summer before you start getting rains. March things. So I'm not quite sure if I can do it in that time frame. But
no.
Major things have happened. So yeah.
September, October, November next year.
Yeah, November probably. It's really you really got to have. You can't have rain, and if you set out a whole lot of displays out, it's just really nerve-wracking to sort of. I have done it in light rain, but it's high voltage.
What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, cool. Well, we'll book you in for November-ish next year, which is a solid.
I think that's
11
probably
months.
a sensible thing, if I'm still around. So, yeah, that's the sort of. Probably realistically, that's probably what happens. I mean, I've had BBC come and say, "Oh, we do some shooting," and I said, "Well, it's the middle of winter. Sorry, I can't." So, and National Geographic, they both sort of came through one after the other. I thought, "Oh, okay, sorry guys, can't do." So there's some, I did look around for places where I can shift my gear and undercover, but it's just.
But Peter, it's you gave them the wrong. You gave them the wrong answer. You should have said, for 10 million bucks, I'll set this up wherever you want. You can do a big indoor studio if you like. It's all good.
Yeah, I haven't made it a money making exercise. So I prefer the publicity. I mean, the publicity in the end is what does it for me. So yeah.
It's all good. Cool.
So I've got all these videos from all these 25 movie sort of so TV segments, and I can't. They're sort of owned by the company, they're not owned. So if I put it on YouTube,
you're in trouble. That's right.
I just sort of, I'm going to put just a picture there, or even whether that's a problem. A picture out of a video. So I'm just a bit torn about whether to link that to somewhere else or not to. Some other way, but yeah.
You've just got to go to the original content producers, like the various companies, and say, hey, can you put it on YouTube in the first instance? Because once it's on YouTube, then you can then just embed that into your website. It's easy. So, shout out to any large production companies that want to take any snippets of our videos, of Ask Us Anything. We reserve all copyright. We will take a fee. You can sign up to our Patreon account.
Absolutely.
And you'll be able to share,
And you'll need to reserve all your rights to own it. Yeah. And they have to ask, not the other way around.
It's actually quite difficult.
Yes.
Often the original people who did the show are gone. The show's done. The producers, they gather from everywhere, make the show, are gone. And I've had one with Dr. Carl, and I just can't get any hard copy of it anywhere because it's just those all people have sort of vanished, and Dr. Carl's still around, but it's a bit of a shame because I've got lots of things like with the Reuters. I had one that went on to Reuters and went to squillion countries. So I've got about 15 videos of the B-roll, which has been rejigged to different countries and different theme music and different speech and talking music and so on. So but I'm just not quite sure what to do there because it's sort of a shame to wait. And I was just sort of scrabbling through my box with all these CDs falling out and DVDs. But I'll have to. But anyway, that's by the by. So look, I am planning. It's something I'd like to do, and I think it's very easy to do. A trip down to Bunbury. It's a one-night thing. Stay overnight. Come down Saturday morning. Help out and have some pizzas at my place, and you will have time to charge whenever you want to at Eton and head back. It's quite a nice sort of simple weekend. It doesn't take up all the weekend. It's just mainly come down for the night. So I think it's be good. And there's a lot of interesting. I've got a lot of interesting Tesla sort of stuff, but a lot of it just liquid nitrogen stuff is fascinating. So I just can't do it with a whole lot of kids and me, the only one in 40 displays, or some of them, many of which will kill you. So I've got to
That's all right. We're just a bunch of big kids, so we'll be okay.
Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, it's something I want to do, and I think it'll be good. It's good, a good club thing to do, but it just takes a lot of effort on my part, which I have a bit of a physical problem.
Yeah, that's all good. So Peter Harris, how's your car going?
Oh, mate, I love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you. Good.
Excellent. Excellent.
Best thing since sliced bread.
It is. And if it can self-butter itself, it's even better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I was very impressed because I washed mine, and compared to the Mercedes that I had before, I dried it with only one
Chamois.
chamois, rather than the whole lot of effort I had to go with the other car. So it must be the way it's angled that it doesn't retain moisture. And I also found that my car doesn't get as dirty. I mean, it must get dirty, but it doesn't show. So it was terrific to wash it.
Palmer, one thing you might notice is that you don't get all the brake dust on the front wheels that you would have done in your Mercedes or any other car.
Yes, it was fantastic.
That's a big difference.
Yes, very good. But the whole car doesn't show. It must be some sort of dust repellent. It did have dust on it, but it cleaned very easily.
Yeah, cool. Good to know.
Windscreen wipers went great though. It's, they should be, but because I've only used them a couple of times, and it doesn't clean as well. So maybe I need to hustle Harry.
You got water in the tank?
Oh, well, that's a good point. I haven't checked, but there was water because I had washed it. So there was water on the screen, and it wasn't drying it properly. It was leaving marks and bubbles on the screen, which in my previous car didn't happen.
We might have to clean the wiper blades.
Okay.
Just with a microfiber cloth or something, just drag it along them.
Okay.
Or even the chamois, except it might leave a bit of a black streak on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good tip there, Pete. That's dead right. Dead right.
I'll give that a try. It was minor, but I did notice the differences. Yep.
But if your water level's running low, the Model 3 should tell you.
Okay.
So, yeah.
No, I haven't used very much of it. This was only from the hose.
Yeah.
Okay. My wipers didn't put any water out at all. And I don't remember seeing any alarm light or anything like that.
Yeah, because I remember the reason why I mentioned that, because I remember, it was a while ago, but I remember getting a message saying top up the fluid. So unless I'm imagining it, but I'm pretty sure, well, we could try it out. You could just pump out the water, siphon it out, and see what happens.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I know the X and S definitely does. I imagine the 3s would.
Probably.
Don't think the sensor's that expensive. So I know Tesla has saved costs on the 3s.
Here's the sensor.
Yeah, well, that's right. The other thing too you could do, Carmen, is put a little bit of detergent, or I mean, you can buy commercial stuff like Windex or whatever. Just a little bit of additive, just to. I mean, if it's just fresh water. I mean, personally, I just use deionized water, just because it doesn't leave any streaks. But it's not as effective on insects and all that sort of stuff on your windscreen. But one advantage is when you do use it, there's no streaks at all. And I just have to have a condensing clothes dryer that condenses the water into a little container. So I just keep storing that. But
good. Well, get.
But don't buy, you know, don't buy distilled water just for the sake of it, because you know it's not that cheap. But yeah, it's up to you.
I always use
On the dryer, I get plenty of it. I normally put it on my pot plants.
Oh right, yeah. Well, yeah. Great pro tip. You can put that in your washer thing.
Yes.
And even if you use a little bit of detergent, it won't leave anywhere near as many streaks.
Right.
So, because it doesn't matter because there's no calcium in it. So, you know.
Yes. Well, that's
Hey,
good.
Harold, I seem to be getting streaks from mine, and I've got a Windex in there. Not Windex.
Rain-X.
Rain-X.
But Pete, with the Rain-X, have you got the one where you add it to the water, or you do Rain-X yourself?
No. The actual additive. Yeah, the proper one.
I've never used that. I use straight Rain-X, where you put it on a tissue or whatever, and you wipe it on the windscreen, and you got to do it a couple of times, and it leaves like a ghosty film, which they say you can polish off, but if you do, then you lose a fair bit of coating. So the best way is to get deionized water, and you just run it over the windscreen, or drive in the rain, and then it clears all the ghosting, and it works really schmicko. But yeah, to be honest, I've never tried the additive version of Rain-X into the washer fluid.
Yeah.
I guess my theory was that it's kind of diluting it. You're not really getting a proper coating, but I don't have any experience with it.
I did both. So I rubbed it on this windscreen, and then and that worked great. So yeah, it was fantastic watching
it's magic.
The raindrops, just climb up the windscreen, and even up the top you could see, because I put some on the top as well.
Yep.
And it was just it was magic. But yeah, so then I thought, okay, this works great. I'm going to buy the additive as well and put that in there. But yeah, that seems to leave a white streak. So
and it's funny, in my older cars, like pre-Tesla, one thing Rain-X would do is make the wipers skip. I forget whether it's the front stroke or the back stroke, but in my car, and I must admit, my car's 3 3/4 years old, so I got it in March 2017. I've never changed the wiper blades. They are still the original blades, and they still work really well. Having said that, I don't use them much because I've used Rain-X.
Yeah.
You know, even though my windscreen is quite pitted from all the erosion from, you know, sand and stone chips and all that sort of stuff. The wiper blades are perfect. Still, touch wood.
Talking about pits and stone chips and things, I personally think the Tesla windscreens are pretty substandard compared to what was on my Audi. It was like a German brick Scheissenhausen. But
that's his style. Is that style? That's his Rick.
Yeah. Is there some way of filling little tiny weeny stone chips? Do you know?
I think the best way to do that is with a big stone, and then you get another windscreen.
I've done that once.
I must admit, I don't know if anyone else got experience with modern cars. Are all the windscreens like that, or is it just Teslas, or are they all pitty these days because they're either tougher, so they have smaller pits than big, you know, bullseyes or whatever? I don't know.
I've got no idea.
But mine's quite pitted, but it's had a hard life. My windscreen's done 157,000 Ks. And a few of those Ks have been closely following trucks and stuff to get a bit of slipstreaming.
Never broken, obviously.
Never broken, no. Touch wood. I actually got a stone chip off a Kona EV of all cars.
What's the chances of that? Less than 100%.
Yeah, it was between Arthur River and Collie, on the Arthur River Collie Road, or whatever it's called. And it was a Kona electric. And yeah, I remember hearing it. It was like this bang, and yeah.
Actually, speaking of Konas, I was at CD Dodd earlier today.
Which one?
So
the main,
the 100 kilowatt CTEC, and
right, wow.
And so they've repaired it now. Well, not repaired. They've commissioned the whole 10 modules. So
Yep.
only 9 of the 10 were functioning the first time around. But so I was getting. It was a hot day. I was there about midday. It was about 40 degrees. I had a 40% state of charge, just under 40, and I was getting 66 kilowatts on a 100 kilowatt. And I thought, oh, that must just be the BMS, just hasn't got the battery ready yet. And then it jumped up to 76 kilowatts. So I was getting 76, which was really good, but topped out at 76. And then a Kona came in and was charging at 79. Couldn't believe it.
Ripped off. Wow, interesting.
Could not believe it.
So what was your state of charge, Pete?
It was 38% when I started and went to 90%. So.
And you've got a performance, so yeah, right, the bigger pack. It's interesting.
Yeah. So
how far had you driven? Oh, you've driven from home to there, so.
Good hour. Yeah, so
okay.
somewhere else beforehand. So yeah, good hour. Yeah.
I think some of those charging profiles are mysterious. You can't really predict, depending on the charger or some other factor, what's really going on.
Yeah.
Whereabouts was this, Peter? Sorry.
So this is in Forestfield. So yeah, Chris Dodd's he's got a 20 kilowatt and now 100 kilowatt there. He's also, and this is all free for the public to use. So and he's also got a 50 kilowatt at Ross's auctions as well. So he's put in 3 DC chargers free for the EV community to use.
Oh, there's a photo.
There you go. Yeah, he's posted it up.
79.
There you go, 79. Told you, yeah. So
spot on, Pete.
So I was, if you see, I put you might be able to look up my comment where I was boasting that I got 76, and that was literally only minutes before. Kona got 79.
Is that yours there, Pete?
Yeah. Yep.
66 kilowatts. 76. And then, of course, it's like Papa out by Kona.
Exactly.
Cool. And the other one that Chris has done is the Ross's Discount Home Centre, which is a tritium 50 kilowatt.
Correct. Yep.
I think right there.
And he's got that one up to 45 in the Kona. Yeah.
Is that in Guildford?
Yes.
Guildford.
Yeah. So that's in Guildford. Just at Ross's, it used to be the Ross's auctions.
Yeah.
Just on James Street. And that's currently free, isn't it, Pete? I think, Pete Petrosky?
Yeah, all 3 of them are free. So, yeah.
So when you say free, so there's the Guildford one, there's the
20 and the 100 at Forestfield.
Oh, right, yes.
Cool. They're in the same location. They're only about 10, 15 metres apart.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. But just to point out that not sure if Ross's is available at all hours, but Forestfield is only during office hours, during work hours, because that's locked behind a gate. So
actually, this one says open 24/7 for the
for Ross's. There you go. Yeah.
And we'll just check on Ross's. Yes, 6:30 till 5. Yep. So sort of somewhat extended business hours.
Yeah.
Cool. Good scoop there, Pete, because I guess that's a very good point to make, because most people will see orange pins and go, oh, great, there's fast charging. The pro tip is always check the pin and read the main comments. So actually, Carmen, you weren't there before when we were discussing the Geraldton charger. But the critical thing there, as with many chargers, is you've got to read the comment, not just read the comments, but read the actual description. So just going through this quickly, it basically says to activate a charge, use the Next Charge app. So that's something you just need to download on your smartphone to be able to use it in Geraldton.
Oh, okay.
If ever you go there. So, but the pro tip, but of course it doesn't actually mention when it's available, which by default means it's 24/7. But actually, I will improve that. I've also got a phone number there just in case anyone gets stuck with working out how to use it, because there's actually a padlock which has a code, and the padlock's there just to secure the plug so it can't be unholstered and
that's a good idea.
You know, thrown onto the ground and broken.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
But yeah, that's definitely a good pro tip. And thanks, Pete, for mentioning it. Yeah, always click on the pin, read the description in case there's any certain nuances that you need to be aware of, and look at the comments, because someone may say, "Oh, look, I tried it yesterday and it wasn't working," or whatever.
So you're saying download the PlugShare app?
Oh, yeah, PlugShare app for your phone, but also there's a Next Charge app.
Next Charge. Okay.
Next Charge, yeah.
And there's another one which is just as handy, which is ChargeFox as well. Yeah, those are the two big ones.
I understood that was to be able to charge by RAC chargers.
Yes.
Yeah, and others too.
Well, I'm anti-RAC at the moment, so I won't support them.
Right. Well, yeah. So ChargeFox you need to use for RAC and other locations. For instance, near my place, the Horizon Power Depot in Bentley has a AC charger, and even though it's free, you need to enable it or start charging using the ChargeFox app. But the Tokwa Geraldton charger, Next Charge has generously donated the service fees and the access fees, or they've basically absorbed that themselves and are providing it free of charge, which is great of them to do that. And of course, it's for a good cause. It's for the wider EV community. So that's just one more app, unfortunately, that you need to use. If you want to go to Kalbarri or Coral Bay or something like that, a bit further away from Perth. So
okay,
it's there and ready. Cool. I think on that note, it's my watch has just gone to sleep, which means it's after 10:30. So it might be a good time to wrap up.
If I can just say one thing, Harold, I put this background picture up just for Pete because it reminded me of this thing I did. It's a nice, so it's just the other way, sorry. It's a nice car. Hang on, this way pretty better. I think it's my son's car. But anyway, what that is a hemispherical thing with LEDs on it. It's I think it's a lead rope sort of thing, which I did some other sort of interesting stuff with. But anyway, I just ran with this on an extension cord. I ran down the end of our driveway, which is it's quite, you haven't seen my driveway, but it's quite it's 100 meters or something. Well, maybe not. And on a long exposure. So I flipped the long exposure, ran down with this thing on an extension cord. I think it's all bundled up. So it's all bundled up. There's extension cord there. I think it's bundled up here. So it'll all sort of run all the way down. So you just take that long exposure and get this really sort of bizarre sort of
awesome
thing. So it was just one little thing I did. But I've done more interesting things with it. So yeah.
That looks
fantastic. Yeah,
that looks very similar to Pete's background there with the ahead of the curve S-bend there. So yeah, that's very good.
Just reminded me, so I thought I'd sort of drag it out of the website and put it on there. Yeah.
Oh, it looks great.
Actually, that kind of looks a little bit like perhaps a certain jolly bloke with a red cape and a few reindeer might do dragging along a sleigh. Which, which on that note is probably a good time to wrap up, given that we got Chrissy in a couple of days, 2 sleeps, kiddies. Actually 1 sleep if you stay up tomorrow night. So on that note, big shout out for everyone watching this later on. Please like and subscribe, hit the notification button. Elon, we'll talk later, it's all good. Shout out to Dave and Joe, and Joe and Seb for watching this later. Thanks everyone for being on, it's been fantastic. I guess on behalf of TOCA, we hope that everyone has an awesome Christmas, a safe one, driving around happily and nice and cool in our safe cars. We'll be back next week for our New Year's Eve special. Yeah, once again, thanks for joining in. Stay safe. And as Pete would say, stay ahead of the curve.
Yes. That's wonderful. Merry Christmas, everybody. And
Merry Christmas.
See you next week.
Merry Christmas. Stay safe, everyone. Take care.
Gute Nacht.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Yes. Oh, well, buenas noches.
Au revoir. All right. Take care. See you all soon. See ya.
Feliz Navidades.